Is it that time already? A time for an amazing guest and another Just Drew podcast episode? I think so. And speaking of time, today's guest is James Williams. James was born and raised in Stoney Creek, Hamilton, where he grew up in the suburbs, but always gravitated towards the outdoors. And with a passion for automotive innovation, football, nature, design, and history. In 2017, James and his wife moved from Guelph to Simcoe, Ontario to raise their 2 kids, and luckily got to see Norfolk's community grow firsthand. In 2021, you might recognize this, but James started Vine and Dine Norfolk to showcase local wineries, breweries, and restaurants to friends in the Golden Horseshoe area. Something he was very passionate about and loved, but had to put on pause to raise his 2 kids. His entrepreneurial spark eventually led him to horology. And what started out as taking apart old watches and tinkering with budget parts soon grew into something much bigger. In 2025, James launched Canuck Timepieces, and he soon realized that he wanted to start a full brand and not just custom pieces. And that's how Canuck Timepieces was born. Unity made unique. A line of affordable, thoughtfully designed watches with a mission. Bring people together through craftsmanship and Canadian-inspired storytelling. And if you are listening to this on Wednesday when this came out, James has a brand new watch coming out in 2 days. And he sent me a little sneak peek. Not just photos, but also video of it in motion. And it is freaking cool. And I really want it. And I don't see why you wouldn't want it. So if you're listening to this, this is January 14th. And his new watch is coming out on the 16th. And if it's past the 16th, well, you better go check it out and go get one because it is really cool. Anyways, here is James Williams.
Hey you, you're listening to Just Drew, Just Drew, Just Drew.
Under $15,000.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, you can't like, especially a Leaf. Like a Leaf is
Who makes the Leaf?
Nissan.
Okay.
And like
This episode brought to you by Nissan.
No, or you could like get a Bolt, like if you want to be able to road trip, because you can charge on Tesla chargers. They're really slow.
Oh, you can. I
there's-
thought it was exclusive.
No, they opened it up like Volkswagen just finally got added like literally a month ago.
It makes sense. Like, just pay Tesla, and you don't have to put all these stations in there.
Well, it's more the reliability aspect. Like people, again, the horror stories in the U.S. and Canada is you buy an electric car, oh, everything's broken. It's like, yeah, but Tesla chargers are never. Like I've driven 3 times to Florida and back, Nashville, Indiana, like random places, and I'm like, I've never run into.
What's the range? Is it like 300?
Okay, so that's the other thing. It doesn't really matter. And
You're charging it by the time before you stop.
Because gas cars, you fill up and then you fill up when it's empty.
Yeah.
Electric cars, you stay within like a range of like 10 to 80% most of the time. So in other words, like so as an example, first time we went on the road trip, Tesla also learns like what you want to do. Like, do you want longer drive or shorter stops?
So it'll adjust.
So like the original trip, we would drive for 2.5 to 3 hours. We got kids, right? We got to stop. 2 to 3 hours you drive straight, and then you charge for like half an hour. Well, the most recent trip, it was about an hour to an hour and a half on average to drive, but the charge stops were less than 10 minutes. So by the time you get out, go to the bathroom, come back with the kids, it's done. Mm-hmm. So you're just basically doing what you would do on a road trip, which is stop to go to the bathroom. Right. And I love talking to people who are like, oh, what are you talking about? I drive straight. No, you don't. You have a coffee. You need to go to the bathroom. Yeah. At least between an hour and 2 hours, you got to go pee.
Yep, that's fair.
And they're like, oh, I just drive straight. You pee your pants? Like, that's what I tell them. I said, do your kids pee their pants? Because I'm not driving 4 hours straight. And like if someone's like by themselves or there's a couple, yeah, I did that. But once kids are thrown in, also I feel a lot better at the end of the day. Like I did that drive a few times where you would drive 3-4 hours at a time. At the end of the day, I'm exhausted because they're 10 to 12 hour drive days that we do. My neck hurts, my legs hurt, everything hurts because you're stopping every hour to 2 hours. You're getting out, you're stretching, you're getting back in, and you're more awake as well because you're constantly stopping versus like
Yeah.
the same.
I've done a team drive for 16. 8 and 8. We did like 4, 4, 4, 4. Me and my dad, because my brother lives in PEI, so sometimes my dad likes to drive.
I love PEI. One of my
But,
favorite. Actually, Newfoundland and PEI are my favorite provinces.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Newfoundland. I haven't my grandmother's actually from there, but I've never been. I've been to everywhere else, and
It's
it
so
looks like
far.
another. I had a buddy get married there. Can you pull up? Can you go to Instagram?
Yes.
He's also co-hosted. Just pull up Bobby. Just type in Bobby, and it should Bobby. You know Bobby.
Bobby.
Yeah, just pull up his
Type
profile.
in booby.
Yeah. Okay. And the other thing is that little screen. Remember this QuickTime
Yes.
screen
Good
record?
time. Yeah, sick.
If you just like activate it,
You betcha.
and then you go to the
Well, I'm just getting the spinning wheel.
oh yay,
She's thinking.
I run everything off of a laptop. I couldn't afford a desk and a lap, and
Is
I
it
needed
a-
it to be
But it's a
portable.
MacBook.
Yeah, it's pimped out. Yeah,
But it's a MacBook.
yeah.
It's like I
Does it
work
all.
in tech. Guess what?
Uh,
No one, unless they're a
Um,
gamer, owns a PC. Do you know what I mean? Like it's
Screen
because
recording.
if you want a computer to just last forever,
mhm.
it's Apple.
I get it, and it's sort of yeah, good, awesome.
I think
So where?
Don't
Oh,
have to
did he
press
only
anything,
post
do I?
one? Go to the top. No, you're good. Should be recording. Go to the top left square.
Top left.
With
'Cause
the-
he
with
got
the-
married in
with the groom-
Newfoundland.
with the bride.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it looks like a different planet. It's stunning.
They probably went to like Gander,
So I'm not gonna
like
pull it up.
out near the.
Hold on. It's
Coastline. It was like coastline pics.
Well, I'm just thinking because like how thick the
Huh.
trees are. It's probably like where the national park is and whatnot.
I've never really gone. I don't. Will it not pull it up on desktop? Maybe.
I don't know.
That's strange.
It looks
It
like
should.
it wants to.
Oh, this is the screen record. Just hit enter.
Oh, okay.
There you
There,
go.
okay.
There. Now try it.
Now we.
Look at that. Okay, go over to the other pics.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. In that. Yeah. See the
There
little.
we go.
Yeah. Nope.
Mm-mm.
See the
If
little.
you just hit
arrow.
like arrow,
yeah.
yeah.
There we
Keep
go.
going. Yeah. Like look at this.
Looks like Belle Island a little bit.
Look at that. That's Newfoundland. Keep going. I just want to look at a few of
Newfoundland's
these.
beautiful. Want to know a fun fact about Newfoundland?
Look at that. Holy shit.
You want to hear a fun fact about Newfoundland?
Yeah, hit me with it. Stunning. Absolutely
More fjords in Newfoundland than all 3 of the Nordic countries combined.
Which is crazy because
Vikings.
I had a buddy that went to school in Sault Ste. Marie. You ever watch the show Vikings?
I've watched.
So
honestly, no. Like
the majority of it is filmed
in Newfoundland.
Some, I bet you some, but a lot of it in actually Sault Ste. Marie, Northern Ontario.
Crazy.
A lot of it. He went to a bar once, and one of the main actors, he's got that big guy with the blonde hair. You know him?
Yeah.
He's also in
I know the actors
Hunger
in it.
Games. Anyways, he was there just partying, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" I was like, "Oh, I'm filming Vikings." It's up in like Northern Ontario.
Filming at Shores the episode.
Yeah. So I bet you the majority of it is. Can you look up the locations? It's
Yes.
so how like the most fjords anywhere.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, because and like when you think of it, if you look at just based on that photo, remember fjords could be like the smallest little inlet.
Yeah. What is a fjord?
Fjord is like technically like a hill, like almost like little harbor almost, right?
Okay.
But like it's
With
like
some
rock
mountains.
face. It has to be
Some
elevated.
elevation.
Yeah, elevation. Yeah,
Long
there you go.
narrow
Long.
inlet of the sea with steep sides or cliffs.
Yeah.
There you go.
So a fjord is essentially like a harbor that's cliff sides all around it, right?
Yeah. Very
So-
Scandinavian word though.
It is very.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's. I found that out and I was like, that's crazy.
In Newfoundland.
Yeah, and like Ireland, I know has a ton too, and they
Mhm.
probably don't get a lot of love
No.
because of that. And I think Ireland has a very, very similar landscape to Newfoundland.
Yeah.
But Newfoundland has, of course, like the forestry, which
That's
Ireland doesn't.
probably why they settled there. They're like, you know what? This is
It's beautiful.
kind of like home. We'll just stay here.
Yeah. Eyes of eyes.
Cold and rainy though.
I know. That's another reason why. Like I look at PEI in Newfoundland and I go, beautiful, beautiful provinces. Why is and everyone is so nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like not polite like we are. Like we are in Ontario. Nice, genuinely like just nice people. And it's like you have the worst weather in the entire world. You have rain and cloudy in the in the summer. And in the winter, you get every single snowstorm,
I think
and
that
you're happy.
I think that's why.
Yeah, grateful for life.
Like humbling,
Yeah.
and maybe they just don't have any. They're so just like exhausted from the weather that they just don't have any more hate.
I think it's because like they're supportive of each other.
Yeah, you
Right?
need each other.
Too
Like
cold
it's a
to be dick.
small community. Like each like at least in Newfoundland and PEI, right? You have communities, right? That are like, I live in Renton, right? Imagine Renton with like a fjord around it. Like that's the amount of people that are in those little communities.
Kind of need each other.
Yeah. and
That's what
it's-
I like about Norfolk is you
Yes.
can't really afford to be an asshole because
Everyone knows you.
everyone knows you. Or you're going to be mean to someone and that someone is going to know someone you know and that they're going to be like, yo, I heard you were mean to so-and-so.
Bingo. Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, I was. Sorry.
I noticed that with trades here because like growing up in Hamilton and even being in Guelph was great. I don't say that, but like growing up in Hamilton,
Were you
trades. it's
Born and
like-
raised?
Yeah, I was born and raised in
Oh,
Hamilton.
okay. What,
Yeah.
well, I got to ask what high school.
Orchard Park.
Okay. Oh, you're Orchard Park.
Yeah, I grew up in Stoney Creek. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I grew up in Winona, technically.
Winona.
Yeah.
Is that still under the Hamilton umbrella?
Yep.
Okay.
It is. It is. I describe it as the boundary between Stoney Creek and Grimsby. That's
Okay, the
Winona.
very cuff.
Yeah. So right
Okay.
at the end. Actually, it's the very end of Barton Street.
Oh, okay.
That's the end of Winona.
There's an end to it?
That's the end.
Huh.
Yeah. Barton Street ends
Huh.
in Winona.
Huh. Obviously, Barton is a, how do I put it? Well known? Barton Street?
Hilariously enough, for the wrong reasons in Hamilton, but like Barton Street and Stony Creek is totally fine.
Great.
It's fine,
Yeah.
and it goes on forever. To
Yeah.
Winona,
There's
in
no
the country.
late night business at that end of
No.
Barton.
As soon as you
That's good.
enter Stony Creek.
Hamilton, or he lived downtown Hamilton.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, and I lived on the mountain.
Oh, you did.
Yeah,
Okay.
I went to Hill Park.
You went to Hill Park.
Yeah, that was
okay,
my high
okay.
school, yeah.
Where'd you go then?
Oh, I actually
Delta?
Was, no. And I've been here long enough. I know that's an insult.
Yes, it is. Yes.
No, I grew up in BC, but I moved to Hamilton a little,
Yeah.
2017-ish. So yeah,
Nice.
but East
Oh.
End,
Almost 10 years.
yeah, just about.
Yeah,
Just
that's
about.
crazy, man.
But,
I've been here for 10 years
Yeah.
in Norfolk.
So
yeah.
so why what made you want to go from Guelph to here?
So my wife and I got married at a young age. We got married at 22.
Okay.
And
It's not 18.
It's not 18. We got married at 20.
Bit on the young side.
We met each other at 19.
Yeah.
And we got married at 22. My wife was going to University of Guelph. And so because I was living at home in Winona, I'm like, well, I'll just move to you and I'll get a job there.
I see.
And when we were in Guelph, that's actually where we thought we would end up. We thought we would live there
Live there?
forever. Because, like, and I still feel that way with Guelph. Guelph is such a good in-between of city and town. It's definitely a city now. Having gone back, we see it like once a year. And it's set up like a city because it's huge now. There's houses being built everywhere, but it's still very town feel. Like the downtown is very town,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think of cities of that size, like when you even comparing it to like Kitchener or Waterloo, like Guelph is a very towny feel. They're the same size. They're the same size, I think, roughly.
Really, is Kitchener?
Probably
I guess
is Waterloo.
it's probably getting there. Yeah.
Well, because the problem
Waterloo.
is when you look at like population, you got like KW and Waterloo. They could just combine it all the time. And Cambridge,
Well, and it kind of is.
and it kind of is like
Kitchener, Waterloo, like yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's what we say. KW.
Haldeman and
right?
Norfolk is
Exactly.
similar type of. Well, not really, but yeah.
Yeah, I get you.
That's another story.
Yeah, and like when we were there, and we got to a point where Kate, so my wife got pregnant, and we're just like, yeah, we should probably look for a home. We didn't have a lot of money at the time, and we're like, we want to buy a home. We don't want to buy a townhouse. If we're going to do it now, it was when Toronto prices started to skyrocket, right?
Am I just putting that mic down just a touch? Yeah, I just don't want this to block your face. That's all. Sorry to interrupt. I'm listening. Yes. Bought a house. Want to buy a house.
And we didn't want to buy a townhouse. We didn't, because we didn't want to pay condo fees, and everything now was condo fees. So we could have stayed in Guelph, and the price range we were looking at was very low for what we were able to afford. And
What year is this?
it was 10 years ago.
It's the height. Oh,
10
okay.
years ago.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
moved here.
So a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
A good time to buy.
Yeah. And what had happened was we look back and we look in Cambridge. Everything there was disclosure, needed like 100 plus thousand. It was worth more than the house, the work that was needed. Then we're like, okay, but maybe we do Brantford. Paris I looked first. Paris was out of my price range. Brantford, well, everything, okay, this is not a knock on Brantford. Brantford's good, but everything in our price range smelled like cat pee or was falling apart. So it was like, and we're like, oh, that's beautiful. The property's nice. We walk in and we just smell like cat pee. We're like, what the heck? And no wonder it's in our price range. And what had happened was we ended up, I said to Kate, and I said, how far are you willing to drive that once or twice a month to Guelph? Because she was doing her PhD at that time. And it was kind of like the decision of.
Are you married to a doctor?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, she's
pretty cool.
She's Dr. She's an epidemiologist
Cool.
by trade. Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah. She was the county epidemiologist
Really?
during COVID. Yeah.
Oh, what?
It was not a
shit.
fun time for her.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. We can dive into that later.
No, you know what? But yeah, so when I said, have you heard of Simcoe? And she's like, what is that? And I said, I used to have hockey tournaments there as a kid.
Oh, so that's how you.
That's
do it.
how I knew it. And not from Port Dover, ironically enough.
Yeah.
And so then we ended up moving to
Simcoe.
because
Yeah.
we found a few houses, actually. We ended up putting in an offer in Jarvis, didn't get it, and put a couple other offers, one in Brantford, one here, and then, yeah, I lived on Oakwood,
Okay.
which I found out later on. They're like, oh, that's a rough. I said, in what world
Compared
is
to
rough?
what?
Compared to what? I'm like,
I lived on Barton, bitch. No.
oh, I didn't, but like, yeah,
I
it's
know.
like, but it blows my mind, like.
It's all relative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all relative.
Yeah.
Exactly. I said
Just perspective.
locals would be like, oh, it's like, yeah, but everyone was fine. Everyone was super nice to us. Like, we had a baby, and it's like, I didn't see what people were telling me. And, we lived there for like, we only lived there for like 2.5 years, but now we live in Renton. Bought our dream home. So we ain't leaving, even if we won the lottery.
It's a nice house. I can see it in my head because I used to bring some deliveries to you.
We're beside the pottery studio.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, it's a nice
Joe.
area.
Yeah, no, it's we're back onto a farm, so
Mm-hmm.
perfect, and it's fenced. We have the only house on this road we found out that has a fully fenced-in yard.
Do you have a dog?
Yes, we do.
Oh, that's convenient.
That was one of the selling points,
Mm-hmm.
and we weren't even looking at the time. We were, but like we had like driven by it, and we're like, oh, how much is that? And we looked. Went inside, came back. We're like, oh my goodness, like I think we can do this. And yeah, but it's a good little community. And yeah, it's great waking up in the morning, sunrise, like, and we did a big reno. Went into big debt for the reno, but worth it. Worth
Yeah.
it. Get our dream. My
Especially
wife.
You don't plan on moving. You want to just
We do not plan on
Yeah.
Oh,
moving.
this is worth it.
No,
to me.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
do it once, cry once, and then you're good. So
Well, the funny thing is, people are like, well, it's worth so much more now. Yeah, but that's not why we did it.
Yeah.
We did it because we want to be here
Yeah, you don't want to sell
long
it.
term.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of hosting, family get-togethers, and beyond.
Yeah, that's also nice with a property like that.
we can host.
It's a lot of work, but at the same time, you don't have to go anywhere.
Well, the kitchen used to be like the size of like this space
Yeah.
because it's a century home. It's like 110, 120 years old.
Tall ceilings.
Half the house, yes.
Okay.
Because just how it was set up, like
Yeah.
there was an addition that was done like 90 years ago, and
Oh, I see. So the addition is
the original
I
house
see.
is 110 or so.
Wow. Okay.
The addition's like 90, which is hilarious. It's like
Some of the old school additions and renovations aren't totally up to the way we do things now.
everything was done. Everything was updated before we moved in.
Yeah.
So like it's a stone foundation,
Oh,
which is awesome.
yeah.
But the addition was sinking before we bought it.
Mm.
The former owners invested like tens of thousands of dollars in concrete leveling, and when the
Right.
engineer came in, they're like, "Oh yeah, this is totally fine. You'll another 100 years out of it." Like, okay, cool. And so it was like the dream situation.
Mm.
Century home, no structural issues,
Yeah.
a fenced-in yard. Oh, and then there's a heated garage with a loft above it.
Oh,
Mm.
no biggie.
No biggie.
Yeah.
Things that I would pay like millions of dollars for in Hamilton.
Wow.
And not pay that here.
So what'd you do with the loft?
It's okay. So there's no heating in it. So we usually put an air conditioner if people stay over. There's no bathroom above it. We've looked into putting a bathroom above it, but because of the septic system, we would have to put a septic system and attach it to the original septic. It's like
Not worth
maybe down the road.
Yeah.
Like we basically are just happy to have a heated garage, to be honest, like
Mhm.
with double car. And yes, we do use it with our vehicles, and it's not full of stuff,
That's convenient.
which is convenient.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Like when we got it, I was like, no, if I'm gonna use it, I like my cars. I said I want to put them in the garage. I don't want it full of stuff.
Right, because you said in your profile you tinker with a lot of things. You're into automotive stuff too, right?
That's like the original.
The original tinkering.
Tinkering.
And then you shrunk it down to something that could fit on a wrist.
Ironically enough, it's less expensive. I'd say ironically, like watches. 'Cause,
Okay.
I guess like when people really think about it, because like people hear watches and they go Rolex,
Mhm.
and it's like that's expensive. Yeah, but that's not every watch.
Yeah.
And
Not
it-
every car is a $200,000 car.
But they are expensive to like bring back up to life. You can buy a cheap car,
yeah, that's true.
$5,000, and then if you're actually going to, bring a classic back to life, it's tens of thousands of dollars.
You have to maintain it.
And you have to maintain it. Found that in,
Watches don't take gas either. Maybe some do. I don't know. I'm sure that's a thing.
no, they don't.
No, they don't
Thank
exist.
goodness. They do not exist. Well, now someone's gonna like
Is there a gas-powered watch?
comment. No, see, no. I love they put
I was
Bugatti.
hoping. I was gonna. It would be so
Jacob-
little like
I
just a
wouldn't-
double piston motor
Oh, I was gonna say, I bet you like Jacob and Co did something just to like,
just for shits.
yeah.
Someone must have done something
If
somewhere.
Yeah.
someone doesn't know
How, like-
who Jacob and Co are, just remember if you grew. I turned 36 next month. It was the hip hop era of the 2000s where every single rapper
This is what
had
they
a
wore.
Jacob because it was like blinged out
Mm.
and like they're insanely expensive.
Oh my god, that's a
Just to
big-
clarify, like they're beyond ridiculous.
Yo, look at that. Was that a roulette one?
Yes, they have the original. They're the original creators of the roulette watch.
No way.
And now there's like cheaper versions you can buy.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're all like, I think the cheapest one is like $500,000 or something.
Holy shit.
Yeah, or like 250. But because they're all full of like rubies and diamonds. It's for like, yeah, it's for the uber wealthy, right?
I bought a nice watch for my brother as a wedding gift. Like I was getting married, he's my best man, so I gifted him one, and he's obsessed with F1, which is Tag Heuer.
He's
the
a
main
tag,
one.
he has a
But
tag,
each team has their individual watch brand,
yes.
and the team that he likes, I was looking up the watch brand. I forget.
Hublot.
He likes blanking. It's the McLaren. McLaren's watch brand, and they start at around 250,000. And I was like, well, I don't think I can gift him that.
I showed IWC. Oh, it's Richard Mille.
And so I looked
didn't
into
know that.
Tag Heuer
one
watches.
Looks like it.
There was one I was looking at. It was insane, like
So they have like
200,000.
Like, 'cause Rolex used to be F1.
overall.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then Tag switched over. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me. I'm not like crazy in F1. Last 2 years, I guess. And
So I
That-
bought him a F1 branded Tag Heuer watch. I found this guy with it. He like it was like 3,000-4,000 off from what he bought it at, and I snagged it.
okay, so you bought a metal one.
Yeah,
Because there's
proper
the
one.
plastic ones.
No, this is full metal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from
He still had the warranty and all the paperwork with it,
Oh,
which was
perfect.
nice.
I came from the sneaker community, so like
Ah.
Kith did a collaboration with Tag
Okay.
before they re-released the F1, even though it was the F1. Gotta love collaborations sometimes. Funny, like all I do is collab. Like I don't do only collab, but
Yeah.
I have a different reasoning for it than like the mass market big brands, because like for them it's about combining their two brands to sell to both brands, right? And when I think of a collaboration, especially in micro brand space of watches, it's usually to bring communities together or make sure that, at least for me, it's like a unity end. So the first watch that I did was called the Unity in Art. That was my first limited release, and it was a dial maker in the US. We started talking about it in April. If anyone doesn't know what happened around Canada and the US in April, look it up. And I reached out to him and I'm like, hey, we should do something with this dial just about unity and bringing our countries together. And he's like, I love it. Let's do it. And it worked out very well.
Yeah.
And
Any unwanted feedback?
Nope.
That's good.
no, I think,
I think
Not I
from
think.
the where you're coming from, it was meant.
yeah. And like, we just made it more of like shaking hands
Yeah.
more than like the politicized version where it's like, you know, we're right beside each other. We've always been friends.
Kind of have to get
And-
along.
Yeah, and
have
it's
a
like-
choice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you have like the separation of the people versus the government. And
Yeah.
and that's what I've tried to say when everyone was boycotting US brands or, you know, traveling to the US. And, you know, it's done wonders for us from a tourism side, which I love, because I think more people should see Canada. There's a ton of Americans coming to see Canada now, which is great. And I said, you have to remember that not everyone there agrees with what's going on. Doesn't matter which side you're on. I said, there's still people. You still want to be able to, you know, support those people that don't really have a say. And
Yeah, I'm really big on that. I'm
Yeah.
very big on just keeping dialogue open with people who have just opposite philosophies than you.
100%.
I'm a really good friend with a guy I hire all the time. He's in videography and stuff, and he's just has an extremely different view on life than I do. And we just sort of have a common thing that we're in love with, and we just
Yeah.
sort of bond over that.
Yep.
And, you know, we do occasionally talk about some philosophical differences, but it's not like an issue. He's a good person. I'm a good person. That's pretty much what it boils down to.
See, and I think
At least I
the biggest
try to be a good person.
we talk about being open with communication,
'Cause-
and
yeah, you have
I'm,
to.
I'm the same way, and I said what saddens me, because I have so many American friends. There's one friend that loves the Orange Man, and he lost all of his friends in the States. And
We're
You
talking
know-
about the cheetah from Cheetos.
sure,
Okay, sure. All right, continue.
and I think one of the biggest things, and I told him this, I said, I wish that it's creeped up here in Canada a little bit, but I think it's been pushed down a little bit again by having conversations with people that you don't necessarily agree with and walking away and not being angry with each other. And I said, I think that's something that as Canadians we do very well. And like, I can have a conversation with a philosophical difference, business difference, and it won't get heated. It might get heated like in the sense of volume level, but it never gets to the point of, well, screw you, I'm never talking to you again. It doesn't get to that point, because we all have our opinions, and we all have, you know, where we grew up, how we grew up, and
You still have to coexist.
You still exactly. And so at the end of the day, I said, every time I'd speak to a friend in the U.S., I said, I don't live there. I'm not, I said, I'm a white male, so I can't compare to everyone that's down there. But I said, I just hope that there can be more open conversation so that there can be unity between people again in the U.S. Rather than just hate each other. And you see that on both, like even on both sides, they can hate each other, be on the same side. And I said, it can happen here, but like not really. You have people you can have conversations with that think the complete opposite. And yes, there are people that you can't.
There's some outliers, yeah.
Of course there are. There always will be, right? Like, what is it? The 1 in 10, right? It's 10%. And like you said, like, so at the end of the day, it's like unity. And so for Canuck, for the brand, for me, it was important. I'm like, okay, as Canadians, we bring cultures together. We're very much known as a, I guess, melting pot from a world perspective, but I've heard quilt in the Canadian.
Oh, okay. Kind of like that.
And I said, I like that. And it's like Canuck means Canadian, which is always funny when I get someone from another country go, what does Canuck mean? I know you're Canadian. I said, actually, that's literally what it means.
Yankee, Canuck.
Yeah, I said it used to be a derogatory term, if you want to look it up. And then it became, a good thing. Like it became a very, I'm a Canuck.
The hockey team.
That's what they all know it as, right? And at the end of the day, I said, you look at Canada, and to me, it represents unity. To me, it represents, so like, how can I show Canada to the world without being like Canada, Canada, Canada in promoting? Because I don't want that. The Maple Leaf is the specialty in that, but Maple Leaf to other people around the world, it may not mean Canadian necessarily. Like I sold a watch to someone in Austria because they're like, oh yeah, it reminds me of autumn and fall. And I'm like, yep, that's exactly what it is. But to me, it's like the unity aspect of Canada, we need to show that to the world, how we get along with others in that sense. So we did one with the US, then the next watch was the Black Hole, which was with a Finnish designer. He's Japanese Finnish, very interesting there. And so right now I'm doing collaborations with the 2 Vietnamese artists. So one of them is a strap maker, one of them is a dial maker. And so like that was like, okay, Vietnamese with this one. And that doesn't mean that moving forward it'll always be collaborative with a country or whichever, but I think at the heart of at least Canuck, I want to build a community, not be like the corny community as like we're building a Discord, right? Everything's like Discord.
Send me money.
Send me money. Yeah, and I'm just like
like and subscribe.
Just Drew.
Hey, quick break. This space right here could be your business. Every week, the Just True podcast reaches people here in Norfolk County and beyond, a loyal audience of creators, thinkers, and doers. Maybe it's a product or your brand in general, or even an event that you can advertise right here in the middle of the show. Let's get your message out to a community that actually listens. Plus, you're not only advertising, but you're sponsoring the podcast, which I love doing, and I hope you also like listening to. Just send me a message today on social media, and we can set that up. Now, back to the podcast.
Oh, that was perfect. You need to like clip that. Like and subscribe.
We'll save it on a sound button over there.
Yeah, like
like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
And so like for me, because I don't have like tens of thousands of dollars to spend on marketing, my following's small by a perspective, but I haven't spent any money on marketing.
How long have you been doing it for?
Short. So the brand, I officially launched the brand in January this year.
You're brand new.
Yeah. Officially January, but I did customs to start because I guess if we want to
go for it,
go into how.
We only have like 2 more hours. If you think you can fit it in, we can do it. We can go ahead.
There you go.
Okay.
Cool.
Do you have to be out at a certain time?
No.
Okay.
No, Sunday.
Alright.
It's great.
Yeah, it's just shit weather. Might
I
as
mean,
well.
it's just a random day of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, automotive passion, design passion. I've always enjoyed art. I can't draw. Can't draw at all.
I can't either.
I at least before this, I didn't think I could create anything from scratch because
It's funny now.
it is funny
It's
now.
funny. You saying it is very funny to me. Just seeing your collection here is astounding.
Well,
But-
that's
but yeah.
the thing. I didn't expect to be at this or do this, and we look at like how it started. Funny enough, watches have always been in my world. Like my father was a financial planner. He's been a financial planner for years, and so I remember him always having nice watches. Now I look, it was relevant, right? Like it's some of them I'm like, okay, well, it's more of like the Jacob & Co. style where it's like that's not the price range, just to clarify. But he always had Hamilton. Hamilton's a very well-known watch brand. Their Interstellar's my favorite movie of all time.
Hell
So,
yeah.
yes. And the Murph, as it's nicknamed, is Hamilton. So those are
Okay.
and then so Hamilton was in that movie. So Men in Black, Hamilton did the Men in Black watch.
I just watched that film. We watched that on
Yeah.
Friday.
Yep.
You know the triangle watch? That's Hamilton.
No way.
Yeah. So they did that in the
No
late 90s.
way.
Yeah. So I always remember like that. And my dad has like Tag and Breitling and things like that. But like I always thought of it as tiptoe around this. I always thought of watches as a wealth symbol. So I never thought of it as something that can be expressed because all I knew was like major brands, like big brands, Rolex, Omega. Oh yeah, you buy a Rolex when you've made it. Yes, that's a shut. No, I'm just kidding. And
Yeah, that's what the suits and ties buy.
yeah, that's what the
Yeah.
suits and ties buy. Like, because I grew up in the 90s, ironically enough, being a kid in the 90s, there was no smartphones. So I had a watch. So I wore a watch from like grade 3 onward. Then high school, I didn't wear a watch. Like I wore Nike sports watch, Timex, like cheap Timexes.
Yeah, I had
Iron
like
Man.
a Disney Mickey Mouse one.
Yeah,
And Pokemon.
Yeah, cheap
Digital
ones.
Pokemon.
Yeah, we all wore watches in that
Yeah.
era. And by the time high school rolled around, I was like, well, I have a flip phone. It's got the time on it. I was always into fashion, but like it wasn't something I cared about. It was more like sneakers at that stage. And fast forward to, well, I guess 2.5 years ago now, when I went on vacation with my family to we went on a cruise. And if anyone who's been on a cruise realizes you have to buy the Wi-Fi usually, and it costs a fortune and it's terrible. So usually when I go on a cruise, it's actually a nice separation from the rest of the world. So I have airplane mode on my phone. It's there just to basically check the time. However, being addicted to our phones, I would check the time and then open up, put in my password, and open an app every single time. For every 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. Every time I looked at my phone, it was just like a habit to do it.
Pavlovian response kind of
Even though I couldn't do anything. So I came back from the trip and I go, yeah, this has to change. This is bad. Like having no reason to open my phone, and I was doing it. So what had happened was I get obsessive. And if my wife's listening to this, she'll laugh because I get very upset. If I go into a hobby, I don't want to go half-ass. Like I want to understand it as a whole. And I guess if I'm aging myself here, I'm a poser. If you remember, like being a skateboard kid, you're like, a poser because he just has a skateboard, never actually rides it. And that's always been with me though, where if I'm going into a hobby, I don't want to go into it and come into a situation where, oh, that's a nice watch. Oh, thanks. I got it as a gift. Oh, and then someone goes into technical specs of something and I don't even know, and I just pretend. I'm like, oh yeah. And like, I just feel lost in that sense. So went into a crazy deep dive, YouTube, Reddit, everything. And I'm like, what do I buy? Do I buy something that is, Seiko affordable, or do I just buy something cheaper? And the reality is Casio. And for anyone that doesn't care about watches, I highly suggest still having a watch, and it would be a Casio. Buy a $25 Casio A158. Probably Black Friday is $25 right now. What I realize is that watch enthusiasts, you could be a billionaire and still own one of those. And there's something special about.
Are they just highly regarded?
They've just been around since the early 80s. They haven't changed in price. They've always been that price.
Huh.
And to me, especially, even though my watches from a outside perspective will be expensive, they are affordable in the watch space. And when I look at a watch, I look at it as a form of art. But if you're using it as a daily, people can go into detail of, oh, it's mechanical and it's a movement, which is, my watches are automatic and they're mechanical. But if you don't care about that, the most accurate way to tell time is electronic, aka a $25 digital watch, and it'll do just fine.
Mm-hmm.
And if it breaks, you can get a new one because it's 20. You're not worried about it. And that was like, okay, I'm cool wearing that. And I'm like, okay, what's the next step? And I just kept looking deeper and deeper and better understanding, and it got me into vintage watches. And because I really enjoy history and where design comes from in anything, from a building to a car to a watch to a sneaker. And at that stage, it was very much, I didn't realize that there were affordable ways to get into this hobby, because I was only seeing almost the least expensive entry level point was over $1,000. I'm like, no, I can't do that. And I didn't realize there was like this whole affordable market out there. And like, if you only have $100 to spend, you can spend it on a new watch, or you can spend it on a vintage watch that you didn't even realize was available for that. And I saw
No one will know either.
No one will know.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you own it, if you wear a Casio A158, that's the funny part, is that someone who, wears a Rolex A158, yeah, classic.
Oh yeah.
It's a classic watch.
Look at that, $24.
20, yeah.
Right now.
It usually is $25 to $30, right? So it's like,
I think this glass of old fashioned is about the same price
correct.
as that watch.
And that's the thing. Well, that's the thing, right? It's like, it allows people to, and if you wear it, no one will know. Well, they would know, but someone who wears a Rolex might actually see it and go, oh yeah. Like, it catches your eye, even though it's cheap.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that, if you look at the history of like Casio, and Casio continues to be around, like, they haven't changed the price.
It's like a, dare I say, like a Honda Civic of the watches.
Or a Corolla.
Yeah. You're just
Yeah.
like, I know that's not an expensive car,
Yeah.
but that's a good car.
Yeah.
Like, I would.
Yeah, it's reliable.
Yeah.
Like, they have a 10-year battery on them. Like, that's a
Yeah.
10-year battery on those watches.
No shit.
Yeah. So, like,
Where's Casio from?
Japan. They're Japanese.
Huh.
Yeah, very much.
Founded in 1946.
Wow.
Yeah, so they've been around for a long. The 80s was like, I think, their boom, because it's when quartz era. Not
That Casio font looks like
This watch looks like an 80s watch.
like
yeah,
that.
exactly. Yes,
But it still works?
it still
Yeah.
works. It still is exactly what people want to get out of it. Like, and of course, there's like the one A168, which just has brighter backlight, and it's like $10 more, $5 more, depending, on the time. Yeah, 6.8 is it's the
That's
same.
transparent.
There you go. Okay, yeah. So it's like $30. Yeah, it's 20 or $30 more usually.
Too much.
Yeah,
Too much.
see,
That's
and
too
it's
much.
like, but at that point, I was looking at modding, because I always modify my cars. And I was looking at, the $500 to $1,000 price range at this point. And I thought, okay, well, I can buy that watch, and I'm on AliExpress. And AliExpress, if people don't know, is basically where all the Amazon sellers buy their stuff from. And they make a small percentage from the AliExpress market, having the
resale.
Yeah, having to be able to have Prime, right? And as a North American, as someone in North America, you want things now. You got to wait a week or two, sometimes 3 weeks from AliExpress, right? So it's just a matter if you're willing to wait. And I didn't realize that you could make your own watch for at that point it was $100. Now it's closer to $150, but you could make your own watch. And how hard can that be? I'm not very technical, but I like to mess
How does
around.
that start? Is there a manual?
YouTube. Just like most things, YouTube.
Yeah.
I just watched a ton of videos. I'm like, I think I can do it. If you buy the materials or the tools are pretty inexpensive as well. It's one of those things, entering into a hobby, usually you're like, okay, tools, expensive. And when I was into sneakers, I did sneaker photography, that's expensive because you got to buy a camera. And then you realize, oh, I got to buy a better lens. Oh, the lens is the same price as the camera or more. And yeah, see, you're looking at me.
Usually more.
It's usually much more.
Yeah.
And in watches, it was you can buy a kit for $20 with everything that you need, or $30 with everything that you need to do. Now, you have to be very sure-handed, I found out.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah, it's more of feel.
Okay.
And
do you need surgeon hands?
no, thank goodness.
Because it's a very tiny thing you're working
They're
with.
very tiny. A lot of people use the magnifying lens and everything. I don't, mainly because
You're not like that guy in Toy Story where he flips the thing in front of his eye.
Yes,
and he's...
that's exactly it.
Ah.
Yeah, and I got to a point where I bought the parts, and people were like, I ended up making my first watch on my personal account, my personal Instagram account, and I started to gain followers in the watch community, even though it's a sneaker content page that at the time it was. And I gained a friendship with someone in Singapore. And every time I made a watch, they would say, you need to start something. And I said, no, I just do it for fun. No, people will buy it. I said, yeah, sure, people will buy it. Are you going to buy it? Right? And what had happened was I ended up just doing a few customs for friends.
Was this customs as in you had full creative control, or were they requesting a certain
request?
Okay.
And speaking before, there's homages to popular watches. That is where the customs and mod community get their ideas from. And that's not a knock on anyone who does customs or mods, but it usually comes from the customer, what they want. And usually the customer wants something that's familiar. That familiarity is usually a Rolex Submariner, a Rolex Oyster, a Seiko, any Seiko really. And they're like, I want that, but I want it in this color. I want that, but those hands look nice. And it's almost, if you've ever gone to Nike ID or Nike by You, if you've ever chose the colors, when you go on a site,
yes.
yeah, and you can customize your.
I've done Vans and
Vans,
Converse does it.
Yeah, and so it's almost like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said,
do you need to tighten the headphones? Are they loose?
I just have a small head.
Okay,
I don't know if it's loose. I think
because the headphones can go up and down if you need to bring them up, or these twist. So these knobs.
I think it just needs to go further.
Okay.
There you go. But yeah, so basically what happened was, I got to a point in January of this year where I wanted to. So I ended up launching it in 3-4 months, I did 6 customs, and I'm like, okay, well, I can do it. But again, it became, if I want to do something creative, and I realized as a few friends had said, like, oh, you have an eye. And I'm like, sure I do. I'm not an artist. And the turning point for me, I did a custom for now a friend. He's in Indonesia, so he's in Bali, and he's a Dutch expat. And we were talking, and he sent me a picture of an enamel pin from eBay and said, hey, imagine if someone could make a dial out of this. And I'm like, I could try. It's not that expensive. It's an enamel pin. It was like $30 on eBay, and then I spent like $5 to $10, I think, on it on AliExpress, because I ended up buying 2 of them. And he's like, oh, like I can pay for the parts. I said, oh, don't worry about it. Like I'll figure it out. And so I didn't have any tools. Like I don't have a CNC machine. I don't have a laser machine. I don't have a laser diode machine or anything where you can chip away and grind it. No, I bought a handheld Dremel from Amazon, and I basically ground it down. And enamel pins come in at like 1.5 to 2 millimeters, and the average watch dial is between 0.4 and 0.8 millimeters. And so I basically grinded down 0.1 millimeter by 0.1 millimeter, measuring each time. And I'm glad I bought the second, because I did mess it up. I was originally using a diamond bit, and it like got away from me, and I, of course, like it flipped over, scratched the entire side, like on the art on the other side. I learned, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put painter's tape, multiple layers, and I'm going to get I'm going to use a carbon disc, because they came with carbon discs, and that was so much easier. Now, it did take many, many hours for me to grind that down. And at the end of it, I was very happy with what came out. Sent it to him. All while this is happening, I'm talking to him, and I found out, I started to follow his page, and he had like Patek Philippe's, which are like $100,000 to $200,000 watches. I didn't know it while I was making it for him. Like I just thought he was, was just someone interested, and so the pressure was on for me, where I'm like, oh my goodness, is this guy gonna like it? Like he has like very expensive watches. By the way, he owns like a Casio Duro, which is like $80 watch as well, and he owns Casios and Timexes, and
it doesn't have to be expensive to work right.
Exactly. And that's what happened is, so anyways, he got the watch, and like he gave me that, and he gave me creative freedom to create the rest of it. Like what case, what strap, what hands. So he gave me creative freedom with that. He got it, and it's been, how long? It's gotta have been over 8 months or so since he received it. And I didn't realize like there are friends that are there that have seen him, and it's on his like bedside table, and he wears it often. And when he said he wears it often, I'm like, sure he does. And then friends have went to see him, and he's like,
yeah,
no,
he's got it on.
He wears it. And I'm like, so at that point, when he said he loved it, and I was talking to, we have a group chat, he's in it, along with 3 other friends that are Singaporean and someone in Thailand. And again, I was getting the push from the initial person in Singapore. You need to create a brand. Don't do customs. Like you can do the creativity, and you need to launch a brand. And I'm like, yeah, but it's like I started looking into it. I'm like, oh, $50,000 to $1,000 to $100,000 to invest in stock. And that's something I learned, again, by doing limited releases to start. Right now, I do pieces of 5 to 10 at a time. That will change in the new year, just, because things have grown to a point where I'm able to afford and understand. And I also have the connections now with the manufacturers, find ways to not have to buy so minimum order quantity is like 200 to 300 usually of a watch or parts, and I've been able to get it down to 50, to 100, and because I can assemble them, like I still want to assemble them because I think there's a value add by someone or me specifically assembling them. And so I'm able to almost forgo buying all the movements in advance. And the movements are worth more than the rest of the parts together. That's just how it works. And so when I eventually launched the brand, the person who was pushing me to do the brand forever, he never bought like a custom or anything out for me. And he kept saying, he's like, I'm waiting for something like special, something that you've made and designed, and it came it's you. And I said, okay. Before I launched the site, I'm like, oh, here's the site, like, check it out. This is like, the watch, I showed you it. And he was my first order. And it was like, I was a little emotional because that person is very specific on what they buy. They don't have a lot of watches, but they buy watches that are like hand done by an artist. The movements, the case, like everything is. So when he ended up buying from me, I was like, okay, I think I can do this then, because it was someone that has far more experience in the hobby than I do. And I was able to pull in a lot of people who knew him and make genuine connections. And if you look at, like, yourself being in social media, engagement is the key, not how many people are following you. Because you could have 100,000 people, or let's go lower, 50,000 people following you. That doesn't result in sales. Like, the amount of accounts that you can follow that have 50,000 plus followers and they have 20 likes on a photo.
Yeah, it's like, I think my Instagram has roughly 1,000, but I'm not getting 1,000 views on a podcast episode. It's not how it converts.
No, it doesn't convert that way. And so if you look at the posts for me, like, I have it's growing, but like about 700 plus followers. I only follow about 120, 140. And again, I'm in the space, so I try to keep the ratio. 10-1 is the best, but I try to stay within the 5-1 because it is better for the algorithm. But by having I have a small community of people that follow me, but my engagement metrics, like, I average 100 likes per post, but only have 700 people following me. And I'm not saying that converts either, right? Like, I'm not getting 100 sales. But the reality is that if you can grow a genuine community and you can create something, doesn't matter what space you're in, if you can create something that community can get behind, they know you, they know who they're buying from. Like the Folk as an example, like, they know who they're buying from. They know who's sending out the packages.
Yeah, there's something valuable to having a personal touch to it. Like, I would much rather wear one of your watches knowing you tinkered with it personally and it's sitting on my hand right now than a Rolex that came from who knows where.
Yeah, and that's the other aspect of it too, is that from, like we had said earlier, I didn't think I'd ever go into this. I never thought I'd be designing something. Sure, I drew, like, as a kid, cars and sneakers is what I would draw as a kid. But I can't draw, so it looks terrible. And I think the biggest supportive, I'm trying to think of the word, not humbling, but motivational moment was at the Toronto Timepiece show this year, connecting with some creators, connecting with some brands, and the brands were very supportive of what I was doing. Like, I had just released the Black Hole watch, and I got really good feedback from actual brands. They're like, oh, I know you.
Oh, really?
And I'd walk up
That's
to
gonna be a great feeling.
I'd
Yeah.
walk up to a brand and I'd say, "Oh, hey, I follow you guys." Like, and that's another thing. I think for me, I'm following brands that I love. As soon as I start following them, I will reach out to them and I will talk to them.
You came right up to me in person.
Yeah.
I was like, "This
and-
is me. This is what I do," and I was like, "This is really cool."
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like even in this space, like the watch space,
Yeah.
and I know now that how I approached it was the right way, because I'm finding out that the community of the brand owners are very close to each other and they want to bring more people into it.
It's that shared passion. Even though you're competitors, it's like you both love the same thing.
And
There's something there.
And because we're like in like the micro brand space,
Yeah.
we're not trying to copy big brands. What we're offering is usually something unique in what those owners and designers came up with, versus, many other fields, like sneakers as an example. I came from sneakers. I built a following there. I got free sneakers. I was able to, like, through my photography, and understand that. However, there's only so much you can do with a sneaker. If someone tries to create a sneaker brand, there's not a ton more you can do without it looking absolutely ridiculous. There is a very classic look.
Yeah.
There's a very specific look, and you can't really do much other than color or laces. And your logo, if it doesn't, you can make the best logo in the world. If you put it on a sneaker, it might look like crap, but that same logo might look amazing on a watch, on a car, and it's so specific. And there's very much a limitation. Like, collaborations are what drove that whole sneaker craze that happened probably from.
I mean, I think Nike's only Nike because of basketball and Michael Jordan.
Well,
really,
and the
it's
swoosh is iconic, and the swoosh looks great.
Yeah.
Like, it really does. Like, you take it from an outside perspective, from a designer, the swoosh is great. Like, it works so well. It's not a matter of brand recognition. It just looks good. You could put in the Adidas 3 stripes on a Nike shoe and go, that doesn't look as good.
And it kind of follows the heel.
Follows the heel.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And if you look at a lot of small sneaker brands that are not as well known, they don't have their logo anywhere except for the tongue, because you need to make it look. If you're going to change something about the aesthetic.
Can you bring up a bunch of shoes? I need to
bring up okay, so the brand is Flowers for Society.
Does anyone need a top up?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Are you good? You're good? Everyone's good?
Flowers for Society. So, outstanding brand. Really unique sneakers. So the founder, you'll see him there. I'm going to ruin his name. Till Jagla. He worked at Adidas and was part of the Adidas run with Kanye. And bringing Kanye to Yeezy and helping bring those shoes to fruition. He wasn't a designer, but he was their head of creative at Adidas. So when he decided to separate, but look, it still looks roughly like specifically the blue, gray, pink ones and black look like something else. Now, I think those ones are more unique, like their sole and everything, very unique. But do you notice there's no logo plastered on them?
No.
Unlike Adidas, Nike, New Balance, Asics, they all have their logos on it. But it's more subtle, and it's more of a fashion end of it. But there are limitations, is what I'm saying. You can't just come out with a shoe and it might look like a cheap $20 AliExpress Alibaba shoe really easily. And there's very small limitations versus a watch where there's specific styles, but you can do so much.
Well, you can buy a $30 watch, or you can buy you can buy a watch that's worth more than my house.
Yeah, $1 million plus. And the reality is, in between that, we talked about this before, you can design a handset that looks somewhat like what Rolex puts on it, but it looks different enough, but it's familiar. You could change the dial. You can change the case ever so slightly.
Is a lot of it patented by brands, like certain looks?
No,
So you have free reign over watches.
no, and that's the other thing. Like, I'm sure there is, but it's not. Submariner, the Rolex Submariner is what everyone thinks of when they think of a dive watch, or a Seiko dive watch. Look roughly the same.
Yeah.
So like look at look at that. Search Casio Duro. No, search Casio Duro. Yeah. Please tell me that does not look the exact same.
Yeah.
From an outside perspective. And Casio's been doing that for decades now. And it's $80.
No shit.
And it's a dive watch, so you can go 200 meters plus. Like, it's not 200 meters. It's 200 meters. That's another thing. It's not
Can
200
you
meters.
go to the Casio website and bookmark it for me? No, I'm just kidding. I'm seriously gonna go shopping after this.
You know what?
I like watches. I just like you said, I didn't think it was like an affordable space for me right now.
And again, like you look at those two, and so Casio's well respected. Timex does. So that's the other thing, is that then homages came in, and this is where like the brand recognition aspect comes in with, okay, you have a Rolex Submariner, you have a Casio Duro. Okay, well, can I put a reliable automatic movement into it? Okay, well, there's the Seiko NH35 or the NH series, which is what I have in my watches. Most micro brands use the NH series, or they use a Miyota series, which is Seiko, and Miyota is usually Citizen or Timex. And so what happens if you put that into a Submariner, let's put it in quotes, homage, it's a copy on AliExpress, right? You can buy them for like $80 to $100, and it's a higher quality than what Seiko puts out for $800. No word of a lie. Better quality, better ratcheting, better everything. But someone would go, oh, that's a fake. Oh, this is because it's made in, it's on AliExpress. Yeah, but Seiko makes the exact same watch and charges you X amount more. Yeah, but it's Seiko. Yeah, but that has a Seiko in it. Oh, well, it's copying. Well, so is Seiko technically. And if you go back in the 30s through the 80s, actually 30s through the 70s, look at military watches, right? So you look at Dirty Dozen, very, very common military watch. And every watch in that era looked roughly the same. All the brands copied each other, right? So you look at Timex, when they re-released something, or like, oh, it looks like a cheap Rolex. Well, no, they made that watch in the 70s as an example. So no, they're just copying themselves. They're just reissuing it themselves. It just so happened that at the same time, every watch looked roughly the same. Then you'd have the wild, like, I think Seiko, that was their best era, in my opinion. The 70s was the best era for Seiko, where it was the quartz era, where we look at quartz, and so like, we meaning like the watch enthusiast world, you look at quartz and it's like, oh, well, they're cheap movements, because quartz movements are between $5 and $15 Canadian shipped to your house. Really inexpensive, but they're the most accurate, and they're the ones that, like, it's a tick. Like, you can see the tick. But in the 1970s, that was technology. They were the most expensive watches you could buy in the 1970s, because at the time, all they had before that was automatic with a rotor, which is what we all do now, or manual wind. Well, they're not accurate. They're accurate at that time between 60 and 120 seconds a day. Well, quartz came in and they were 5 seconds a day. Quartz now is like 5 seconds a month.
It goes off by 5 seconds per month.
Yes.
I
And
see.
so like in the quartz era, when quartz was introduced, they're just like people at the time and the brands were like, okay, well, let's do all of our creative stuff on that. And it's going to be the most expensive. So like, it's the reverse again now, because quartz is pretty cheap. Back then it wasn't. So you can buy quartz watches. They're inexpensive, but they're the most accurate. You buy something with a movement in it, it's more of like the artistry, right? It's kind of actually compared electric cars to gas car, right? So like if someone, like I love I still love cars. I still love gas cars. Like my dream car, if I won the lottery, 911 GTS, 100% would be my daily driver. That's a gas car. But James, you drive electric cars. Yeah, it doesn't mean I don't like gas cars. It's not
Still a beauty about it.
It's still a beauty about it. There's still
Yeah.
like being able to tune a car a specific way versus like the computer aspect of it, right? Where I love owning an electric car. It's like I know Tesla. It's the best car I've ever had, and I'm not just saying that. And I'm saying that from an enthusiast perspective. I'm not just saying that.
It's like film and digital cameras.
Yes.
Same concept.
Yeah. Like you look at actually, if you want, like Sinners, right? Shot on
Two different aspect ratios.
two different aspect
Yeah.
ratios with film, and there's like an artistry behind it.
Yeah.
So if you yourself as a filmmaker, you look at that and go, wow, what they were able to do with that. Meanwhile, someone's going to go watch Fast and Furious 11 when it comes out.
It's like GoPros covered in the car, and
Yeah,
this
it's like
camera here on a boom crane. And,
But it doesn't matter is what we're saying, right? Like it's like it's like a film, someone who's into it
yeah,
versus, so that's why like a mechanical watch to an enthusiast is like, oh yeah, it's mechanical, it's better. It's not from a time perspective, but it is from like an art perspective.
yes,
And there's a smoother sweep. I will say that. Like the sweep on an automatic or mechanical is a lot smoother than 99% of quartz movements. But yeah, so it's one of these things that you get into something, like you said, with film with yourself, and there's something in those hobbies. Like there's always going to be a snob in a hobby. There's always going to be like someone that puts their nose up in the hobby. But something that was impressive to me was when I went to Toronto show, and I ended up going to Singapore for the watch show there, just like beginning of November, and having my wife came with me, and having her see the support that I was getting, she was like, okay, I understand it now. Okay, maybe like it is something, and it's not just something that you're going to do for fun. And there's like industry vets that, I even my short time that I looked up to, and that have been doing it like in the micro brand space. So still independently owned, not owned by one of the big conglomerates, which would be Swatch Group, would be the major one. Swatch owns obviously Swatch, Omega, and a few others, but like they kind of control that industry. And having an independent in the space that's been in it for 10 years and still going strong, I look up to someone like that, and I go, when I have a conversation with them, and when they're telling me, they're like, and I ask them questions about, am I doing it right? And they're supportive, but also, honest, and saying like, okay, you're doing it right because you're not jumping into it like a lot of people do and spend all their money. Well, I don't have the money to do it. That's probably why. But also, you get so excited, like as someone that has like severe ADHD, I get so excited I just want to do it.
When
right
you
at
said
that
you like to go all in, I was like, I feel like
Oh,
he's,
yeah. Mhm.
can relate to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get so excited, you just want to do it now.
Yeah, all in.
All in.
Immediately.
Immediately. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Immediately. And
Yeah.
having to restrain myself from that. And like my phone, like my wife laughs. She'll open my phone to get like a photo, like, oh, do you have the photo of the kids from the other? I'm like, yeah. She's like, it's all watch designs, all of it. And I'm like, yeah. And because I get obsessive. And the industry, so it's Isotope Watches. Shout out to Isotope. Jose, amazing person. Really, really helpful. Like he's in a different, he's in upmarket. He's in the like $3,000 to like $5,000
It's a cool looking
dollar
watches.
range. They're absolutely beautiful. So if anyone,
But still attainable. for
in a watch world.
if you're into watches, it's and you want to buy one good watch, you can.
Oh,
you know what I mean? It's not
that's-
like tens of thousands.
That's the big thing for me is like when I discovered micro brands, I was like, why the heck do people spend $10,000 on a Rolex? No, or why would you spend $5,000 on an Omega when you can have something truly unique? Actually, if you look at another brand,
is that a tennis ball?
yes, I think he does like limit. He's been, like I said, he's been in
dope.
it for a while.
That's dope.
There's a brand called Selten, Selten. So I've acquired one watch this year, and it was the top left-hand corner. And so their dial. So like it's one of those things like
That's pretty cool.
that dial is a Black Tahitian certified mother of pearl dial, and they've guillocheted it. In other words, they've used a laser to etch that beautiful design into it. One in every
Can you hit
three.
play? Sorry.
One in every 3 dials they make break because
Oh.
because it's so.
Oh,
hang
it's
on.
really loud. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
And so like it's one of those things that, and that watch is under $1,500.
Oh,
Like
shit.
there's no way
that a
Seiko would release something even close to that.
Is that a
for
moon dial?
It is a moon phase, yeah.
Or moon phase?
So it's funny. I love I like ticks, and I bought, and having that, it's hilarious because it doesn't have a second hand. But I think the dial is so beautiful that like that's not the same, but like that's see they have the Banta Black actually.
Cool.
But I looked at that, and when I dove into it, and so speaking with Jose, back to that, I was talking to him about, like, I showed him my design in person because he didn't want me to send it to him because he was so honest with me, and he said, as a fellow designer, I care so much about identity of my designs, and because I had asked him like for feedback, and he said, I don't want to see your design and it goes into my head, even though I don't mean to
And you
do it.
subconsciously
Use it
Mm-hmm.
for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I respected that. And I said, so when I see you in person though, in Singapore, would you be open to looking? He goes, of course. I'd be happy to look at it. Just not something permanent that I can look back at. And again, so then he was asking me, like, how do you do your designs and stuff? Like, they all are CAD experts. They're all Illustrator experts, and Illustrator's like the bottom end of it usually. And I go, I use Photoshop. And he's like, what do you mean you use Photoshop? I said, I use Photoshop. I said, I bring up something, I erase aspects of something, I bring blocks and circles and stuff to. He's like, that's what you're coming up with that? And I said, yeah. And he goes, yeah, I think you have a better eye than you think. And I said,
To each their own. I mean, there's always a different. There's not one method.
well, I can't draw. Like I said, I wish I could draw because like
Yeah.
I bought like a stylus for the iPad, and I tried to do. I'm like, this looks awful. This looks nothing like I wanted it to look like.
It's
Yeah.
about getting the idea out of your head onto something you can look at. Like,
And-
oh, that's what I want.
Exactly. And you know, like everything, you get inspired by different things, right? And for me, most hobbies and why I fall in love with them has to do with the history of that design. Like the design itself, but then looking back on how that artist was able to get to that and why it was successful. Because you could spec out a watch, as an example, AliExpress. If you want to buy the best spec watch, AliExpress for cheap, because they're going, like, if you're looking at like a Seiko that's $700, you can buy an AliExpress watch that has far better specs on it, better quality for, let's say, a quarter the price if you're going, or even half the price if you're going even on the high end. But the point is like a watch or anything for that matter is not about the specs. It's about the design and the idea behind the design. And you can buy, like I had, I've, like one of my beaters is definitely an homage because I'm like, I want to go swimming with it. I don't have to beat it up, or I want to be able to beat it up, etc. But you can look at something and go, it can be the highest spec, throw every single design that you can imagine into a watch. That doesn't add value to it. It doesn't add any value. The value of it is who's designing it, right? It's not, because it's, what I've realized is an art. It's an art to design. So you have like a movie maker, you have someone who creates sculptures, someone who, etc. Again, it's not what it's made of. It's not what unfortunately the marketing behind it is a lot of it nowadays. But if something is unique enough and designed to someone's happy with, I think that's what sells something now.
Well, it's like a Bob Ross painting.
Yeah.
He's not a Leonardo da Vinci painting the ceiling of whatever, but people love Bob Ross, and Bob Ross's hand painted that, and so you want to pay $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the point. Right? Like obviously Rolex or Omega have gotten to but they have history. So like I said Rolex a lot.
I'm curious, like
it's a knock. It's not a knock.
How old is Rolex?
They're like, I think they're mid 1800s.
Okay, like how far
Oldest,
back can we go?
Watch. Okay, so the oldest watches, I actually think,
and we're talking about a
Cartier?
watch.
Someone, yeah,
not a clock, which is
not
different.
a clock. You can look it up, but like I said, it might be Cartier. I don't know. Just look up oldest watch brand. I can't remember if it's Blancpain.
Galet, Haldeman.
No,
Jean-Michel.
look up Blancpain. Blancpain. Blanc like white in French, and Pain. Yeah, I think they're the oldest watches, technically, that are still available today. Yes, 1735. Yeah.
Holy shit,
Yeah,
290
so
years ago.
they're the oldest current. Yeah, there you go. It says right there, oldest registered watch brand in the world. Right. So they've been able to stand the test of time through the entire history. Right. And so that I understand why they can charge what they do.
Well, it's like they don't even need to do anything really. It's just who.
No, but they do a very good job. Like,
I'm
I
sure
think
they do.
make great I think they actually still make very good watches, and they're owned by Swatch Group. Just to let you know,
they have a lore. That's the
exactly, and like Rolex has that, Omega has that. Like they have history. So it's like I'm not knocking those brands. I'm looking at it and going like, good for them for staying on top. Good for them for continuing to be at that level. And I think that's one of the more interesting parts about the current watch industry I'm in, where it's like you have these juggernauts, these kings and queens of the industry, but you also have a micro brand industry that doesn't really exist in most hobbies anymore, where you have these creators that can create something unique and still sell it to a community because it's more about design rather than the brand. And Western, I say most of my customers prior to probably like this series or something, but was Australia and most of Asia, and not Canada, not the US. And the difference is now that like I've started, I think Western society wants to have brand recognition, but they also want to know who's making it. A lot of times, if it's not going to sell you with marketing, they want to sell it. They want to be sold by the person. In Asia, they don't really care about, like, they do, but if you're an enthusiast in Asia, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You could look at a big brand and go, great, but I want something different. I don't care about the brand on it. What is that? I want to buy that. And they care more about the design of it than they do the brand associated. Unlike Western society, we're very brand heavy. And I haven't, even at the Toronto show, the first year, 2 years ago when I went, very different than this year in the sense of how micro brands are perceived. now, if you speak to someone like in Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, they're going to be more open to a micro brand, which in the past they might not have been in the last 2-3 years. And that's because the popularity has taken off a little bit, but also there are Canadian brands now. And that's another reason why I started it, because there isn't many Canadian micros. There's probably less than 15. I know it sounds like a lot.
It kind of sounds like it's like 10 to 12 years behind the microbrewery scene, sort of taking a similar path.
Very similar, yeah. And like you said, like, well, yeah, microbrewers. So you look at
it used to just be like what, Labatt, Molson, the big brands.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, the Waterford Brewery,
Wishbone.
Yeah, Wishbone, and like Wishbone's a very good example, I think, of they've built a very good environment. Like the space there is awesome. You could technically go up all the way to Flux, yeah. Flux also, great job on that. You look at how Wishbone and how smart they are with, like, I'm not a beer fan. I don't like beer that much, but I like one of theirs usually. And then there's also people who are into, you know, microbrewery
maybe
flavors.
They brew at home or something.
Yeah, and they like that. But they also tend to the person who likes the Molsons. And I'm like, okay, so that's impressive. But they're able to keep their identity still. And so like you're seeing this with this industry where there's brands that go in and out in the last 5 years, and sitting back, because I'm in e-commerce, so that's what I work in. And people are like, why don't you have tens of thousands of this? Why don't you have thousands of followers? I said, because I don't spend the money on it. And what do you mean? I said, Meta wants you to spend money. They want you to spend money to grow your following. I bought the blue check mark because they wouldn't give me the ability to do something. So I'm like, I guess I'm paying for the check mark, the cheapest one, but you're not going to grow your following until you spend the $50 to $100 a month, which they want you to spend. And yeah, there will be sales associated with that. You'll get people, but
it doesn't feel as good.
It doesn't feel, but it's not even that. It's I think, like, there's a few brands that are grassroots like mine, where it's like, I'm not going to spend all this money on marketing because I can't, but I'm going to do it where, like, when someone follows me, I will message them and thank them. And I think that goes a long way to forming some type of a relationship. If I think they're like legit, I go to their page and I'm like, okay, you know what? That's a real person. I'll reach out. And I said, I think by having that may change in the future. Like if things start to grow more, like, yeah, it's difficult to keep up. But like the early format of how I want to do it is the growth through a connection, because I'm not spending all that money to market.
Grassroots.
I've never spent a dime ever with anything. It's just organic.
Yeah, but your cinematography is great. So
well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yes. Well, good content.
And
definitely
the folk
helps.
marketing is like outstanding. I just remember being back in, was it 2020 or 2021? Were you guys released 2020?
2020.
Okay, so it could have been 2020 when I noticed the straight face.
Oh yes, the hey,
straight,
it's us.
Serious face. Like, I associated that with the folk, and I love sarcasm. Sarcasm is my favorite form of humor.
Yes,
and I'm like, that is the best. Like, The Office is my favorite show of all time.
Nice, same here. Yeah,
there you go. And because it's so direct but hilarious, and if you like what the folk has done, I think that's my struggle right now, because I don't have the same artistic background as someone like yourself or someone like that.
Well, you're also by yourself. See, there's a lot of things I'm not good at that Eric's very good at, and same with Ash. So we sort of fill gaps.
Yes,
So there's that.
that is the thing. And because I see, yes, I'm trying to do it all by myself.
You have to do everything.
And yes, exactly. And I'm trying to learn. Like at the beginning of the year, I tried to learn cat.
Yeah.
That didn't work out.
You're doing it as you're learning it.
Yeah, and I'm starting to learn. Like I learned that sneaker photography or people photography, landscape photography, completely different than watch photography. There's so much glare off of. It doesn't matter if it has AR coating or not. Could have the most amount, still glare. And learning that was frustrating at first.
Yeah, I used to shoot a lot of wine and beer, so it's like you have to change your whole lighting setup.
Oh, it's
a pain in the ass.
Like you have to have a softbox.
Yeah.
Or if you're doing natural lighting, you have to hit it
a certain angle.
Or else it's completely blocked.
Yeah, you see that like line going down it.
Yeah, and like when you're taking a picture, like, oh, my glasses, I could see my glasses looking at it, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
And so I'm learning that as I go, and my editing style has changed from what I did with my sneakers completely.
Well, and you're probably, if you're gonna photograph your watches, you're probably gonna want some like micro, like some lenses that can really get the. It's because it's a small thing, right?
I did buy a macro.
Yeah.
I find that my do everything lens, which is 30 millimeter, the Sigma 1.8, and I put it in like 2.4 usually.
Yeah.
Consistently for almost everything, and I play around with the ISO depending on it, but like I find that gets the most because Sigma is Sigma's a very great brand and high quality, and I can tell the difference from a high quality to like the AliExpress, or it's not the Amazon 7 Artisans macro I bought because I'm like, I need to do macro, and it's manual. I will say that was worth it because I've learned how to do manual, so that was worth every penny for that, and I've learned a lot. And the macro's good. It's better when it's on a tripod.
Oh yes.
Because
you can also buy adapters too. You can put them in between your lens.
That's what I started with.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's why like I ended up buying like that macro, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. And learning all that as I go, and now I'm learning the videography, trying to figure out how to do proper videography and lighting, and
there's all these rules.
It's because when I do videography, I do it I like natural light. I've always preferred natural light, but I'm starting to realize I'm like, nope, can't do all natural light for videography because as I'm recording, the sun changes, and then I'm trying to it's impossible to adjust it is near impossible, I've figured out, to adjust the editing per second. And I'm sure there's a way, but I'm also not a professional. I'm not getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to figure out how to fix that. And I don't have the time to do that. And the videography end is there's how the lighting is and what you're saying, but then you start throwing in the filmmaker aspect where you're like, how the heck do I make an ad like that? And then I start doing clips. I'm like, that looks nothing like I wanted it to. And it's a whole separate creative skill. And that's what I'm realizing for myself. I'm going to rely a lot on, like, I'm doing a major release next year. Something that is, so right now, I'm able to pull aspects from other watches to create what I have.
Do you want to show these off at all?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like,
is it like bad juju for me to like put one on, or
no? Go ahead.
Yeah,
I brought them.
I want to try one.
I want
to try that yellow one.
Yeah, this is it's funny. Oh. It's kind of funny because I hope you have a small wrist. I do. Wrist. Okay, cool. Because I don't know where the camera is or not, but yeah, the Surfite dial. This was my first release,
if you hold it up where your mic is, it'll be in. Yeah.
All right, yeah, it was my first release, and when I wanted to, it's funny, I didn't wind it. I just realized that. Hang on, wind it. It's not working. it was because I came from the streetwear sneaker world, I just thought you tease and post. Yeah, it's not the same in watches. They want you to like hype it up, see the watch for at least a month
Before they do it.
before you release it.
Yeah.
And so I had like 1 and 2 sales like over 2 months. And then
wait.
Yeah, and then I ended up getting the collaboration with the Finnish designer Ando, and like really unique. Let's call it the spaceship watch for most people. It's called the Black Hole. My favorite movie of all time is Interstellar. I don't know if we said that earlier, but I got the idea to have a Masu Black, which basically absorbs almost all light, 99.4%, if anyone's wondering. And Interstellar, for me, I'm like, okay, Black Hole, spaceship. And when we designed these hands, I wanted something that showed like a vortex. So the hour and minute hand, has a curve to it to signal that it's getting sucked in to the black hole. And when we were designing it, and I said, I want to keep the seconds hand straight. And he was like, oh, why do you want to keep it straight? And I said, because it reminds me that like an old radar system. So submarine, best example. Everything could change in that radar system, but that is always constant. And so I'm like, I wanted to create something that now I just realized my bag's over there.
Oh, I can get it. This backpack?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll grab it for you.
And so this has like an insane amount of lume, or as people not in the industry, it's glow in the dark. I brought a UV light so you can like see the lume and what happens when it's charged up per se. So this has a very powerful lume on it. I found out how powerful it was when I did the Singapore show. I think I wore this one all day. No, it was this one I wore all day. I wore this one all day. Has the same hands, so it's the same type of thing.
Yeah. And
so what happened was I went to bed and I woke up in the middle of the night and I look at my wrist. I'm like, oh, I left my watch on, and I could still tell the time.
No shit.
Like 10 plus hours after the daylight had subsided, right? And I'm like, yeah, okay, well, there's the test. It works, and it works a very long time. So typical lume doesn't last very the last few hours. Rolex and Omega has really good lume, so it should last a really long time on paper. But yeah, so like when this was released, that's when I got more traction. So this actually was just, I made this by bugging him for this case to make for myself. So I still make watches for myself on the side. And so you have like this. So what had happened was I bugged him. I'm like, I would love to make a watch with that case. And a few months went by. I'd bug him like once a month. Say, hey, like if you're ever going to sell it, let me know. And he's like, actually, it's not going to hit. I have 5 prototypes. You can have one of them. Make something with it. I put together what I put together. It's not the same hands, obviously.
Oh, this is nice.
I know. That sold out quickly.
Oh.
That sold out in, okay, so skip ahead.
Oh, this looks so good.
So so it fits really well. It's like, despite it looking, it's not chunky at all.
Wow.
And so what had happened was I made it. I posted it on my Instagram account. That is a sneaker account mostly. And I posted it at night, woke up the next morning and it exploded, and got a message from the person at Ando. His name's Yu, so it'll get confusing. Let's go Ando. Ando messages me and he goes, do you want to make this? Because he makes watches, right? And And I'm like, yeah, of course. I didn't think. And he's like, okay, well, we'll have to change the hand so it's not like another watch. Like, because I took hands, not took, I made, there was hands that were associated with another brand because they were available. And that's what I was able to do because I couldn't afford to make my own hands. So what happened was he was like, okay, well, let's do 50. And I'm like, I've sold like 2 watches of my brand since I launched it 2 months ago. So that's not probably, I said, how about 10? And he's like, okay, we'll do 10. So we launched it, and he's like me. He doesn't do a lot of marketing. He has amazing designs.
Also,
But
Just Droop.
hey, quick break. It would mean the absolute world to me if you pause this episode right now, went to Spotify, and hit the follow button. Or better yet, you can leave a review or even a 5-star rating if you're feeling good today. And if you're not already, you can follow the podcast on Instagram or subscribe to the YouTube channel, or even if you just want to share an episode with a friend who you think would love it. I would really appreciate it. Any little bit helps the podcast grow and keeps great conversations like these coming your way. And who knows, you might even be on the podcast next. Now, back to the episode. Sorry to interrupt. If you think about it, if I had 1 of 10 watches, that is way more valuable to me.
yeah.
Exclusivity.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're those ones. So these are all numbered. So these ones, like this one here, that one isn't. No, that one's a prototype. So like these ones are numbered. Yeah. Well, no, 0. That one's 0, and I crossed it out. So
okay.
they're all
Okay.
numbered. The Unity is also numbered, but that one's an example. So I don't think it has anything. It might have 00 or some other type of aspect to it. But yeah, what happened was when we released the 10, it was released like 5 days before the Toronto Timepiece show that I was going to. I wasn't going to be in it. It's quite expensive to get in for someone that hadn't sold much. And so I released it on a Friday before the show. By Wednesday, I had sold. By Thursday, I had sold 6 of the 10. And mind you, I had only sold 2 watches in 2 months, so I sold 6 in that time. Go to the show. The Friday night is the VIP like creator event. Like I know the person who runs the Toronto show through similar to what I did with you, right? I just walked up to him and was chatting with him, and had a random person come up and say, "Oh, this guy wants to see that watch." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I show him it. Within like 5 minutes, like, "Yeah, how do I buy one?" Amazing. So fast forward, end of the weekend, I'd sold 3 more at the show, even though I wasn't a vendor and I wasn't like going around advertising. I was being respectful, and other brands were actually introducing me, which was nice. Content creators were. And so I arrive at the event, event finishes. Monday rolls around. I said, I have 1 left. And within half an hour, I had 3 sales go through. I'm like, uh-oh. So I had to like refund 2. So I look back and I'm like, oh my goodness, I could have sold a lot more.
Yeah.
But again, at the time, I didn't want to overcommit because I had to pay for them to be made, right? And I was splitting it with like the profit with Ando, and so I'd sold out in, I think, officially like 8 days or something. Like the 10 watch is gone. And at that point, I think other brands were starting to see, which was great. People started to notice that. And fast forward to Singapore, I go to the show. I was at Ando's booth, like, to help him. That was kind of like the idea. And he was awesome. He would introduce me every single time and say, "This is James. He's with Canuck. You need to follow him. This is his watch. This is the watch we did together." And we realized we probably could have sold just at the show like another 10. And we're like, I'm like, so during the show, I didn't realize, like, we had discussed it before the show, like just back and forth saying, yeah, we need to do something of a follow-up in the new year. I said, oh, yeah, sure. And then the first person he introduced that watch to, he's like, and I said, oh, it's sold out. So, like, unfortunately, you can't buy it. And he's like, don't worry, we have something coming in the new year. So I'm like, oh, we are? Like, it was like an official, and it's one of those things that we're going to do like 50 on the next one. And yeah, I know what you mean with that. I thought that was a sell as well, like having limited 5.
50 still.
Yeah, 50 is still limited, and I realized that isn't the reason why people were buying even that watch that was 5 or that was 10. People weren't buying it for that reason. Again, these are just like, thankfully, mistakes that I made without overcommitting. And that's something that what I've sat back and learned and watched brands do Kickstarters not make it, or brands do Kickstarters and didn't make it. Seeing, okay, they have to lead up. They have to have a month or 2 of promotion before they launch the watch. Okay, don't overcommit. Don't have a... Okay, if it's limited, maybe, it doesn't need to be limited because no one knows who you are. If someone knows who you are, it becomes valuable. And so I started to look at the design that I have for next year, bringing back something called the mystery dial. So if you want to bring up mystery dial, it's called the Simcoe Marvel, is what actually the original inspiration was. This watch was made in Simcoe Marvel Mystery. There you go. So that watch was made 1 year, 1959. Wasn't made any other year after that. So it's the first. First picture is fine. So.
Oh shit.
So.
That's pretty neat.
I like that.
That was made in 1959.
Wow.
1 year. 1 year. I found out 1 year, and I'm like, why 1 year? It's so unique, and it was so far ahead of its time, because I think by the 80s, their mystery dials started to hit around late 70s, early 80s.
Why is it called a mystery dial?
So, if you look at other mystery dials, so this one makes less sense, because you see how there's like a disc blocking where the hour and minute hands connect in the middle of the dial. So it almost looks like floating, but not.
Yeah.
So it's a mystery how it actually is there.
I see.
And the seconds hand on this is a less traditional mystery dial now, because that is just a seconds hand in the middle, but a common mystery dial now. So if you search mystery dial Longines, there you go. It's actually the second one. So click on the first one. So like you see here, that is the minute hand and the hour hand. So the hour hand is on a disc. So a mystery dial became this like, oh, it's floating. How is it floating? Well, it's just a disc. The only modern day representations of it, so there's Beau Bleu in France that it's like 2,100 Canadian, so it's fairly expensive. That has like a floating seconds hand. Isotope has a floating seconds hand, but they're upmarket. There's a brand called Mr. Jones, but they don't have a seconds hand. They have it's almost like cartoonish art.
Okay.
On a wrist. They make really cool watches.
Oh yeah.
So there's like affordable ones, there's more expensive ones. So
that's sick.
So it's really cool, but they don't have a seconds hand. And I said, why don't any of the affordable mystery dials like Mr. Jones have a seconds hand? Because I like movement.
Everything is
I like
fucked.
that one.
Yeah, that's great. And why are there not floating seconds hands? So in the new year, so I already have the molds and everything, but there's going to be a floating maple leaf as the seconds hand.
Sick.
So if you look at my watches, so Unity didn't have it, that didn't have it, but now my watches, the maple leaf is there, the maple leaf is in the dead center. If you look at that, the stone dial one, yeah, you can, it's this one. There's a maple leaf in the middle of it. It is the cap,
Yes.
and it does move.
Yes, there is.
It moves slowly.
It's very subtle.
It's very subtle. And so the maple leaf will be a floating seconds hand. The hour and minute hand will look like they are floating. So that's kind of the idea, is that moving forward, we're talking about if you can't sell it based on marketing, if you can't sell it based on being known, you have to have something that separates you, right? So floating, or obviously being Canadian, Canuck, Maple Leaf, but I also don't want to segregate myself into the Canadian market, or, oh, they're the Canadian brand of Maple Leaf. So I have to find my design language. And if I'm going to do it, I'm like, okay, a mystery dial is a cool way to do it. And I can do so much with it. Do vintage classic look. Like if you look at the cases on these, like they're very 1970s Seiko. If you look up like don't look, there's a ton in 1970s Seiko. So it's not like, but like I like vintage watches, and I think the case designs from like the era of like the 1930s to end of 1980s is like the best case designs outside of dive watches. Dive watches have gotten much better, but if I'm going to find my design language, I want to do it. Okay, I'm Canadian, so I love the Maple Leaf. I'm going to have a Maple Leaf in it. But I also need to figure out, okay, if I'm going outside of a Canadian market, because most people in the world don't know what a Canuck is. As Canadians, we know it's Canadian, but it's Canadian without, it's subtle Canadian. And that's okay, because I was told by someone I respect in the industry saying, you don't want to pigeonhole yourself into only doing Canadian, only being, because if you're ever,
That's your only market.
because that's your only market,
Yeah.
but also as you expand, it's harder to be like, oh, I'm Canadian. But then as you grow, that's your only thing. That's your shtick.
Yeah.
And so if I'm going to, so unity is like a big thing. If it's not collaboration, I'm a big supporter of other micros. Like it won't be in my feed, but it'll be in my stories. I will comment. Because I think if I preach unity in my, like, why am I not supporting other brands? Why am I not supporting creators? Why am I not supporting something even though my brand is surrounding unity? Unity made unique is the actual slogan for the brand.
Yeah.
And the reality is it needs to be unique. And if I'm going to do it, I need to have a community behind it, and not just, it's not a knock on brands that do it, but like not a fake community that is, as we said earlier, join the Discord, do this. I'm like, not to say that won't happen maybe in the future. That's great. But I want it to be genuine. I don't want it to be like join the Discord and then it becomes just like Bash Fest, like most do. Right? It becomes something that's like coming at someone or having to, I'm trying to think of the word. My mind's gone blank, but you have to keep a watchful eye on everything in those communities because they can go off the rails so quickly.
Yeah.
And it becomes very cancerous.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
And do things become cliche that you need to sort of be cautious of? Like, yeah, there's trends that happen that maybe you want to avoid.
Yeah. And if I'm like you guys, like with the folk, you guys have a strong community without having to have a Discord.
Yes. I think what we're running into is exactly what you were talking about, is expansion.
Oh yeah, pigeonholed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it is very, well, that's what it's sort of named after, right? But there's ways around it.
There's ways around it.
Yeah. I mean, one good step is just making a good product. That's
exactly
like number one.
And there's like the watch I'm going to be releasing it looks,
you don't have to spoil it.
No, it's hard because like as I try to get my design language, there's a reason why I did limited releases for these. It's because, and I've said this to other brands, I've said it to content creators I've been very fortunate that content creators have been messaging me for the last few months since I released the black hole and say, "Oh, your new watch, you haven't done any. Do you want, like, you can send it. I won't charge you. You can just do it." And I'm like, I have a release next year. Let's focus on that one. And that's another, like, people were like, "Oh, you're barely marketing these two." And I'm like, yeah, but like, I'm going to release something next year and I almost want to like transition it. I don't want to be this and then like it looks completely different to most people. If I'm going to do it right, I'm going to, start teasing, pieces of it in January. Prototype should be done by the end of January, early February. Then I can start posting it, and then I'm going to send the 2 prototypes out to different creators. And I've been very fortunate that like 15 to 20 creators around the world have been very supportive of me and what I'm doing, that they're willing to help.
I kind of see it like episodes in a season. It's like you're not just gonna drop the season finale. It's like episode 1, 2, 3. And I'm like, ooh, what's gonna happen?
And it's a 100-piece release.
Yeah, that's
of 50
cool.
and 50, and it's such a different vibe from, I will say, like the Unity. But I will say what I've chosen with hands and case, I will be doing a certified dial again next year. So that's another thing where I was like, I need to find something, and anyone in design understands this, by not pigeonholing yourself to one look. And it's like, okay, how can I use the same, like, the hands that I'm creating in other designs? And that will be my design. So I was very careful because right now I do sterile. There's no indices, there's no numerals. The release will have numerals, which is separate, which is a very far separation from what I've done so far. But that doesn't mean that down the road I won't have sterile again, to have something more artistic. And I've been able to find a design for the case and the hands that allow me to do that. But what I realize is that with sterile designs, the brands that do the best with sterile designs, the brands that are very well known, or have a connection to a bunch of different magazines, or have a history behind the scenes of doing something else. Then they can release a sterile design. Or the movement is like completely like made by that watchmaker.
Yeah.
And so again, by stepping back, not jumping in with 100 pieces of this, it's allowed me to learn. And I love, the crazy thing is that if you look at, this is a double release. It's called the Origins. So like there's the nature and the cosmos. So the cosmos, if you had looked around at this watch, so it is done by a dial. Like I made the design with a dial maker in Vietnam, so he does each one separately. So they're hand done design. Like it's still a CNC, but he made the machine himself. It's not like an X tool, which is the one that most people have. And then this is a stone dial, but most people are like, oh, it's wood, or it's sand, and that's the point. Like this is supposed to be layers of earth. This is nature. And by having, like, I love this watch. I wear it all the time, but everyone wants that one. And
sleek.
Well, it kind of tells you, even as like, if you as a filmmaker, you have an idea, it's like, but that's not what everyone will like. And so I've tried my best to cater by having indices with numerals on the future release, but still keeping what I think is a good design.
Here's the thing. If you like something,
Yeah.
the odds of someone else liking it is probably pretty high.
Yes. And I've shown, and because I've been showing, like I've been working on that design for 4 months already, like for the release next year. bouncing it off of a ton of people, bouncing it off of other brand owners that I very highly respect. I've been careful about who, and it's changed a lot over that time. But someone that I respect in the industry had said, who does reviews, they're overseas in Europe, and they had said, if you have an idea, you can take the feedback, but it's okay not to do all the feedback, or else it doesn't become yours. And you won't want to sell it. You'll lose your passion, but also it loses the passion of what makes it unique. And I knew that, but like having it said back, it's just like, yeah, you're right. And so I've been trying to blend something that I still think is amazing with something that I think the more of the masses of enthusiasts would prefer. And I've realized that a lot of enthusiasts do still prefer to have numerals or something to tell time. I know, a watch that tells time. Mainly because I always think, like, probably you can see from being sterile or the first release, like, I think watches are art.
Yeah, I was going to say, I like the look. It's clean. And yeah, I don't know. I like the sterile look.
Yeah. And again, like, watches are art to me.
Yeah.
They are
100%.
not. They are not. It's, I know it's hard even for enthusiasts to hear.
Could you consider it jewelry? Like, it's something that's
I was just gonna
valuable that
say,
you're wearing on your body.
I consider it to be men's jewelry.
Yeah, it's men's. Yeah, exactly. And fashion.
In fashion, it is a fashion accessory.
Yeah.
If you want to tell the time, you have a phone that does it perfectly. Satellite.
Plus, the rough time.
And that's the thing. So, like, some of the feedback, hilariously
Like a
enough,
minute
is
off?
like, I need to know what it is within 5. Like, I can't even do within 5 minutes. It needs to be the exact minute, and yours doesn't say that. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. And, like, I'm not gonna go to that nth degree. Like, I think within 5 minutes,
I wonder,
on a watch is perfectly fine.
is it possible to make one where it's sort of like a hidden lumen numbers, and you can like activate it if you want numbers?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Like a lot of times people will have so like you have like the chapter ring.
Yeah.
Will have an indice like engraved in it. Yeah. So it's yeah. So the upcoming release will have numerals and a unique indice set that is a design indice. It doesn't look like a traditional indice like on a minute tracker because I didn't want something that looked like a traditional indice. And shout out to Jose at Isotope. He's very much he's all about innovation in design, but more specifically, if you're going to do something and you're going to make it your own, may as well just make it like how you envisioned it, and then get feedback. And
What's that struggle of like? Who you doing this for? Is it for you?
Yeah.
At the same time, you got to sell them to make
At
a
the
profit.
same
and
time, I
continue
gotta
to make more.
and that's
It's
it.
that balance.
And that's it, right?
Yeah.
And the upcoming series, like these use a Seiko NH series movement, and they're the least expensive, reliable automatic movement you can buy. Now that doesn't mean it's cheap. They're a workhorse. They'll last forever. And they're unique in the sense you don't really have to service them. Like a Swiss watch, the least expensive Swiss movement, it's called a Solita SW200. So it's very common for brands that I want to have Swiss made movements. Well, they're not Swiss made anymore because they're available on AliExpress. But they are still Swiss. I'm not saying they're not. But one of the issues with Solitas is that you have to service them every 2 to 3 years. If you don't, they also could break between that time, which is also ironic. But and that happens honestly not necessarily Rolex, but it does happen with Tudor, who Rolex owns, where you spend $4,000 on a watch, the movement breaks in a few months. Yeah, but it's covered under warranty. Yeah, but there's like, why would you?
You don't
just
want
spend $4,000, and you have to send it back. And I'm not saying that happens all the time. That's not the point. But I intentionally chose the NH movement because all watchmakers, if anything ever goes wrong with them, you can service them. If anything ever goes wrong with them, usually it's cheaper to just get a new movement, and it's cheaper for the watchmaker to be like, do you want me to just swap the movement out? It's cheaper than servicing. And I'm going up to what is a Miyota 9000, which is the level of I was gonna say quality of a Sellita, like where it's like the upper tier of a Japanese movement, and it's more reliable than a Swiss movement.
Why? Is it material, design, bit of both?
It's how the movement's designed. So it's extremely reliable. It's a smoother sweep, so it has the sweep of what that Sellita was, and it's more reliable movement. And just overall, it's better made.
So you're buying this, it's sort of put together, and then you're not building this from. It doesn't come in
the movement.
pieces.
The movement comes assembled.
Okay.
I assemble the rest of it. Like I assemble
right.
the cases. I assemble the hands
piece by piece.
piece by piece. Movements, no. And in our field, they were like, "Oh, well, you're a watchmaker." I said, "That's very kind." I said, "I'm not a watchmaker." I said, Now I consider myself a designer, which I never thought I would. I'm a designer who can assemble watches. A watchmaker to me is someone, now on the site it says watchmaker because it's so much easier to just go a broad spectrum. But if I am speaking to a group of enthusiasts, and if they say I'm a watchmaker because I assemble my watches, there's a deeper aspect to it where I would say a watchmaker is someone who can disassemble an entire movement and put it back together. I cannot do that.
Yeah.
Every piece. Like there's a brand in Singapore. It's a brand, but he's a watchmaker. He does like 10 pieces, and he puts together the entire watch. Everything is made by him.
How long does that take?
Oh, hundreds of hours.
Oh my god.
And it's like, but that's a watchmaker to me.
Yeah.
And that's me being the snob, I guess.
Would you like to get to that level?
No. I would. I took apart an old movement that was already broken, just to see if I could put it back together. I put it all together. I put it apart. Everything was spread out on the table, and I'm like, I don't want to do this. Oh my goodness, I don't even know where to start.
How many pieces are
panicked.
how many pieces are in an average watch?
Oh, hundreds. Because you got the springs, you got the jewels. Jewels are just if you open a watch, you'll see like a purple or red. It's a jewel, but like for an automatic watch at least. I don't know how many, but the funny thing is I took it apart and I literally went to put it the first piece on, and I'm like, I think that's wrong. I don't even know what to do. And so props to them. You know what I mean? I can adjust watches. I can adjust the if it's running slow or
you can
running
mod
fast.
them.
It's not even mod. It's not that it's not extremely hard.
Yeah.
For someone like myself that assembles a watch to know how to adjust to make sure that the second hand is running plus or minus a certain day.
Also, how does a watch do that?
Gears.
And the gears are that accurate.
Yeah, the gearing, and that's why everything has an accuracy number.
Okay.
Right? So on average, an automatic watch is between the lower end of it is 20 to 60 seconds accuracy a day. High end. Now the funny thing is you can actually tune them to within 5 seconds a day. You could take this, this comes in, it comes 20 to 30 seconds a day is what NH movements traditionally are. You can tune it to 0 seconds if you really, really, really are meticulous about it. So there's nothing that says you can't. And that's when someone says, oh, well, the accuracy of the Sellita is, from the factory 10 to 20 seconds, and the Miyota is 20 to 30 seconds. I'm like, you're not going to notice that, first of all. Second of all, you can tune any watch to be within.
I'll just go, and then it's fixed.
Well, yeah, and as a collector or an enthusiast, you aren't going to wear that watch every day.
Yeah.
You're going to reset it anyways.
Yeah.
Which is why quartz, like, if you just want to throw on watch, yeah, quartz is the best because you're going to take it off and then you'll come back to it 6 months later and it'll still have the correct time. Well, there's power reserve. So that's the thing. When you start to get like more expensive movements, it's the power reserve. So like a power reserve on an NH movement, so the lower automatic movements are technically 30 or so hours of reserve. So if you take it off your wrist, it'll still keep time for 30 hours before you put it back. So you could leave it for a day, put it back on, and it'll still be running perfectly fine. Miyota is closer to 42 hours. Sellita is around 40 to 42 hours. The high end is like 96-hour power reserve. And there's like this like, oh, it's nice. But if you have a 96-hour power reserve, you're spending $4,000 to $10,000 on a watch. I'm sorry, you're not only wearing that watch if you're an enthusiast buying it, because you're probably just going to have it in the drawer. You're going to pull it out a few times a year, and you're going to wear the other watches that you have that you're not afraid to knock around.
Yeah. Do you want to, like, when we're talking in the hundreds of thousands, like,
yeah,
I'd be paranoid having that on my wrist.
Yeah, as this Rolex GMT.
It's again,
Pepsi.
I don't think it's real, but hey,
You know what? And it's one of those things that
put on upside
there's
down.
like the whole homage copy market and copies, and it's like they're starting to get all these comparisons of like the fake ones in China that are getting made that are. This is not a knock on Rolex or anything or Omega, but it's gotten so accurate that the movements, each piece are the exact same.
Yeah. Is there a difference? How much of a difference? The gap's closing.
So minuscule now.
Yeah.
So it's more of like,
Ugh.
are you willing to, like, as an enthusiast, I wouldn't wear one. But I don't care if someone else wears one, because that's up to you as a person, or you want something that's nice and you don't want to spend $10,000, and then obviously the enthusiast would jump in and go, yeah, but it's fake and you're supporting slave trade. And all this. It's not slave trade, it's China. China is not what it used to be 15, 20 years ago. Thank you, fast fashion, for exposing that. But the reality is that's what happened. Like, China changed their, actually, if you go deeper dive, I don't know how much time we have still, but like Beijing Olympics is what, like, it woke up the China government. So Beijing, when they had the Olympics, they had the smog, and only like 10 or 15 days a year they had sunlight, even though it was just literally just smog. If you go there now, Beijing 2/3 of the year has sunlight, and that all had to do with them obviously being a dictatorship, but like they cleaned up everything. And that included the factories. And someone who sells clothing, the difference between China Vietnamese made and Sri Lanka India made is a huge difference. Like, if you're looking on Temu as an example, that's not made in China stuff. And if it is made in China stuff, it's very different than how like a made in Canada or a made in US quality is. Because made in US, made in Canada, made in UK, etc., it's one quality. There's not levels to it. China has, okay, yeah, you want tissue paper t-shirts? No problem. We'll sell to you for $1. You want better quality? We'll sell to you at $10. You want the highest quality? We'll sell it to the consumer at $30 to $40. And we know that at that point, it's just as high quality, if not better, than what a made in USA clothing piece would be. But it's made in China, so it lowers the value, and that's fine. But where you're getting the paper thin quality isn't from China anymore. Same with like watches. I know, Seikos are made in China, people. They're not made in Japan. Most watches are made in China. Look at Chinese cars. if you speak to anyone in a country that sells Chinese cars,
Especially they're electric.
yes, like BYD. BYD is the obvious one. They'll be here in the next few years.
Yeah.
And they're like, as a North American, we're looking and we're like, oh, they must be cheap. Must be terrible quality. No, they're not. Like, they're not.
Not from what I've heard.
Not from what I've
They're
heard.
some of the top electric cars in the world.
And then you're like, oh, well, you're letting the media get to you. How about speaking to someone from a country that's not China who owns one or is surrounded by them? So my friends in Australia, they're like, they're the only affordable cars, and they're better than my Audi,
Mm-hmm.
and they're half the price,
Mm-hmm.
and their quality's the same.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so, and we were like, oh, well, it's I said, no. I said, obviously we're going off topic,
Oh, no, all good.
but you have like the value of a factory worker here versus China, right? And people are like, oh, well, they're getting paid way less, and you want to support someone that. I said, well, the difference is that I put this to a friend in the U.S. and I had said, let's compare, because he had brought up like the Apple moving from Mexico to the U.S. I said, you don't think that's gonna make Apple products go up in price? Well, yeah, but like no one really pays for an iPhone outright. They paid in a monthly payment. I said, true. I said, but it's still gonna go up. Well, are you okay with someone in Mexico making minimum, like he threw a dollar amount out. I said, okay, if they're making $4 an hour or $5 an hour, let's say it's $15,000 USD a year. Can anyone in the US make that and have a living? We're talking about relevant. Everything's relevant.
Yeah, because everything they're also purchasing there is cheaper.
Yes, and that's
Yeah.
my point. Is
Yeah.
like, I said, let's go to someone that is making 20,000 USD a year in Mexico. In the middle of Mexico, I said, the problem is we look at Mexico and we see all the resorts. That's what we think of Mexico. But the reality is most people in Mexico live in the middle of Mexico, right? And like Puebla, I think, is like where Volkswagen's been making Volkswagens for decades now. And so you look at that and you're like, okay, let's say they make 20,000 US dollars a year as a mid-tier factory worker. I said a single mom in the middle of Mexico making $20,000 a year with 2 kids. I said, I guaranteed they have a place to live, food, and transportation. I bet you they do. I said, can you do that anywhere in the US? No. Can you do it anywhere in Canada? No. Okay. I said, so if you're paying someone here $50,000, is that enough? Well, barely. I said, okay, so there's the point. Well, don't you want them to? I said, yeah, but they're living in a place where they can, like, everything is affordable for them.
Yeah, it's
China's the same
their
thing.
pays relative to their
Pays
economy.
relative. I found out that the BYD assembly line workers make the equivalent of, like, I'm talking about the technical ones.
Mm-hmm.
They make 26 US dollars an hour. That's a lot of money in China. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And versus here, if you pay, because like I think not Toyota, no, Toyota pays pretty decent actually for like general labor. But like if you're going to like Honda and Toyota factories, they're making I think about 30 to 35 Canadian, right? Like as like a baseline, I think. And if you're doing that, I said if you're comparing it, I said they're living extremely well at $26 an hour. If you brought that to the States, no way a factory worker is able to afford a lifestyle at $26 an hour.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen because everything, like your cost of food,
Cost of living, everything.
cost of living, everything is 10 times.
Taxes.
Taxes, 10 times.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
And I was like, so it comes down to like the factor of the creation of quality of a watch made in China. The parts are made in China, which is why but most watches that you see that are even up to $2,000 sometimes made in China, but that doesn't mean it's less quality. That actually to be honest, it usually means it's really good quality
Mm-hmm.
because they're doing QC, they're under like dust-free environments that they're assembling them in, and the accuracy is actually superior to something of Rolex, which has been proved. Now, the quality of the Rolex in general and the prestige and the marketing plays into that price. The market, the falsity of how many there actually are. Oh, we can only produce. Hey, that plays into it. That's not a knock on Rolex. That's just Rolex doing what it's always done as a luxury brand, and all luxury brands do it. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
But don't knock something that is made that you can buy for, heck, let's go to Casio. Casios are made in China. They're $25. Don't knock a Casio because it's made in China.
Yeah.
Because that technology has been available for decades now, and there's a reason why it's still around.
Yeah.
It hasn't changed.
I'm going to get a Casio now. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Go from there.
Or a Canuck.
Or a Canuck, yes. Oh, my God, I would love one.
And, yeah, I said, like, the end of the day, I said, I think people locally, I've said to friends, and they're like, well, how much are they? I said, well, they're $600 to $800 depending. Oh, it's expensive. I can just go get a Michael Kors for that. And I'm like, a Michael Kors watch is a $5 watch, just to let you know. They're selling it to you. Oh, well, it was on sale for $100. They said it was $300. Yeah, but that's literally that's just a fashion brand. They do it very well.
Yeah.
I said that watch is $5. Maybe let's go high end to 20. Let's say it's $20. They're selling it to you, and they're falsely saying it's $100 because they listed at $400, and they're discounting it. Oh, it's discount. And I said, I'm not saying that's the wrong decision. I said, but don't play into it and say, oh, you're expensive. Yeah, but are you going to pay more for something that's made in Canada or the U.S.? Are you going to pay more for something that who's assembling it versus someone who made a table that versus going to the Bricker Leons?
Yeah. No,
what's worth
sure.
more value to you?
Yeah.
They could be the exact same materials, which, by the way, it's not the same materials.
Mm-hmm.
For again,
there's
hard.
meaning. You're looking for meaning.
The meaning,
story.
But
also who you're supporting too.
I was just gonna
if
say
I buy this watch, I know that's going into your pocket, and you're gonna continue doing what you love, which is what I want you to do.
And ironically enough, so my price isn't gonna go up Actually, it's gonna be probably the same price as what that was. Which the only reason why that was more expensive is because I paid the artist what they were selling it for.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to diminish the art and how many hours goes into polishing and sanding that down to get to that dial, right? And so the major release will be basically the same price as that, even though the movement is a superior movement. The cost for me currently, because I don't buy 100 of them, and as someone who sells clothing, if you buy in bulk, it's so much less money, and you can make more money off of it. However, you have stock and you have overhead. So right now I don't have overhead really, and I make 10 to 15% on the current watches that I make, which is nothing in the grand scheme of things. But because I sell them at what I do, and people in the industry have consistently asked, when I was selling these watches, oh, you got to sell them for more if you're not making money. I said, I don't want to do that because I want to stay affordable. I want to stay in the affordable realm, which is under. I know it's not affordable for many people, but under $1,000 is the affordable in the watch community.
Yeah.
And I want to stick to that even when I upgrade it, because at that point it allows me to be like, okay, right now I don't have the overhead. I make minimal money off of each piece that I make, but that allows me to, when I do have the 100 pieces, I can keep the price roughly what it's at. I will make more money off of it, and I will take more of the risk. higher reward, obviously, but also I don't want to punish the person who's buying it, which obviously from a corporate perspective is, or even a business perspective, is not necessarily the best way of doing it. But I think it actually is for how I'm doing it right currently, because I don't have the overhead. I don't have the risk. I'm buying the pieces that I know I'm able to sell. And because of that, I'm not making a ton of money off of them. But I have a full-time job. In the future,
It's a little bonus, and it could always shift.
yeah, to be honest, I haven't made any money because I've just invested it back in molds for the stuff next year.
I haven't gotten a return on this podcast yet. I'm almost 2 years in, so. But I love it.
But you love it.
Yeah.
Now, I eventually do want to make the watches my full time.
That'd be cool. Baby steps.
Yeah, and it's always like 2 years, like a year, 2 years. You know what I mean? Like, and I think I've seen some new brands that get way too invested. They have the 300 MOQ, so they have 300 watches. And I see it a year and a half later, they still have the watches on the site. Versus the brands that they're going to hype it up, say limited 100 or whatever.
Yeah, we do that with new designs. We have sort of a range, and we're like, we'll get X
yeah.
amount. If it all sells out, then okay, we'll do a bigger order.
Yeah, and it is like that in between. And again, because I'm in e-commerce and and I work with brands, and I have worked with brands for over a decade now, I'm able to see what brands are successful and which aren't.
Yeah, what's the common theme here?
The common theme is honestly the marketing, to be honest. But how many, like I worked at Shopify 9+ years ago, and I was there for 3 years, and I've been at the current app now for, it'll be 9 years in April. And like how many swimsuit brands can there be that sell the exact same thing? How many t-shirt brands? Obviously, in your case, you have a niche market, but how many boho chic fashion brands are there that are the exact same thing?
Razor blades. You can do anything. Toothbrushes.
They're the exact same, and it's all marketing.
I can only think of like Oral-B. Like, I don't know. I can't really think of anything else. There's Gillette.
I haven't paid a lot of attention to my toothbrush.
No, but like the funny thing is, like, there's so much of the same in that market, and that's not a bad thing. Hey, you know what? Entrepreneurship, it's awesome.
Yeah. How different can you make the one thing?
How can you make a t-shirt?
Yeah.
Or a blouse, like,
Yeah.
or a dress, or like, there's only, it's back to the sneaker part. Actually, it's very similar. How much can you do without making it look ridiculous that no one will buy it? And watches, there's so many different styles of it. Well, it's interchangeable.
I think that goes back to you said a lot of it's marketing. You could have the same product as someone else, but if your story is more meaningful to someone, they'd rather buy the exact same watch from you because they like your story.
Yeah,
and what it represents and what it's supporting.
Yeah, and like for me, like that is a big thing for me, is like why I'm trying to do something that isn't replicated or close to, is because I don't want to have that confusion, and I don't want to have to compete from a marketing dollar perspective. Like, again, the folk, like you guys have the Norfolk, Haldeman in Norfolk market because there wasn't a competitor, and then if there was a competitor, you were able to market it to be the foe. And at this point, there's so many competitors for someone like myself that I do need to make it unique enough. And thankfully, it's in an industry where there is almost an infinite number of designs you can do versus a sneaker where it's like, nope, there's Jordans, Chuck Taylors, Keds,
Converse,
running shoe. No, I'm thinking of running shoe. Like, when you think of like
running.
when you think of brands, you think of Jordan basketball. You think of Chuck Taylor Converse, cloth with a cloth shoe.
Yeah, with a sole.
With a sole.
Yeah.
You think of a Ked, okay, a low cut cloth with a sole. You think of a running shoe. A running shoe could be a Nike, Asics, or New Balance, and they have a specific look to them.
Yeah.
You can't really go outside of that without Jeremy Scott. Like, you remember Jeremy Scott Adidas that had the wings on it.
Yeah, well, the thing with shoes is they need to be functional too. You're walking around in them.
You're walking around.
Yeah.
You're looking like and like you look at women's like stiletto, like high heels. They look the same. All of them look the same, and it's all marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, you don't have to do that in this. I don't have to do that in this space, or I'm not comparing myself to someone who does. I'm gonna say real art. Like if someone do a painting, there's an infinite number of paintings you could do.
Mm-hmm.
There's a style you can emulate, but it'll be yours. And it's the same with this. There's a style, a Rolex versus a Casio Duro. It is different. One's affordable.
Or a hoodie. A hoodie's a hoodie.
Hoodie's a hoodie.
What are you gonna put on it though?
What are you gonna put on it?
Yeah.
And so you can have a cut of a hoodie,
Yeah.
but what are you gonna put on
What are
it?
you gonna put on it?
Are you gonna be ridiculous and the whole thing be a checkerboard? Well, no, because then you're going into Spencer's Gifts territory, and it'll be a gag gift.
Although, yeah, that'd be useful. Throw the sweater on the table. You get that chest all of a sudden. You put the pieces in the little sweater
Multi-use.
pocket. I think we're onto something.
I love if we just kept going.
Yeah. Before we wrap it up, I would love to. How do people support you and buy your watches? Where do they go?
You can go on Instagram, Canuck Timepieces.
Yep.
Or CanuckTimepieces.com.
I assume everything's linked into your socials and
Yeah, it's right there.
all
Yeah,
that
It
stuff.
is linked and
Damn! Look at that watch.
yeah,
I
that's all
love-
my photography. So it is.
It's very good, man.
It was not easy, but and obviously like it's the website I was able to do because like I have a website background, but again I know what works and what doesn't. It's so simple because right now SEO is important to me. I need to be able to show up. It needs to be simple. I don't want it to take load time issues. And if you like the big brands can have the unbelievable videos going, everything, because they can have the slowest load time. I can't. And why would I invest thousands of dollars into a website when reality is I don't have hundreds of products, so all I need to do is figure out a way to get them on the site and to buy. And
So you're pretty good at that then.
Instagram's just the only way. Like I have people like, oh, you should do TikTok. I said, no, I'm not doing TikTok.
Instagram's visual. It's very visual, very photography heavy, which is what I like.
Which is what I like. And
Yeah.
because I'm not a video person, I have to unfortunately go into that eventually. But images and photography is what I prefer. And I know from how my posts have performed, my images perform better than my reels.
I prefer Instagram over anything else. I don't know if that's like a very millennial thing. I know TikTok's very big with the Gen Zs, but Instagram's just.
I feel the same way because there's less like. I haven't had Facebook. Like I have it technically, but like I haven't had Facebook for. When did Doug Ford get elected the first time? I'm dead serious. That was when I got rid of it.
I don't even know.
6 years ago, 7 years
like
ago.
I stopped using Facebook in high school. I have it.
Yeah.
It's when our parents'
Looked it up.
generation started using it. It was like that's the boomer platform. Instagram's millennial platform. TikTok is Gen Z.
Facebook
platform,
was
for the most part.
Well, the problem with Facebook is that you can't ignore the comments.
No,
You can't.
no. Facebook's
Instagram
also
you
a bit
can.
of
Instagram you can't because of the images. It's like power.
yeah.
TikTok, as someone who has severe ADHD, it makes it a million times worse.
Yeah.
Swipe, swipe, swipe. Oh my goodness, I can't focus.
Yeah.
And it's like, it just exasperates the
You can't
issue.
really like take anything in. It's just like
You can't
boom.
take it.
It's slapping you in your face every 10 seconds with something.
And
like,
you know, like, not to sound old, but like that's like Gen Z. That has been like its issue. It's like they're like even someone who has severe ADHD,
attention span.
the attention span issue is a Gen Z thing, and my kids, and like because like we're in a social media world, we're in a world where everything is less than 30 seconds most of the time.
You can just keep scrolling.
Yeah, TikTok
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
keep
the
scrolling
infinite
less
scroll.
than 5 seconds. Like it's
Yeah.
like, Yeah, that's not good. And you see it, and I think we've caught it with our kids because we're learning from the current, like, for like I have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old, and we don't like 100% restrict them, but we restrict them enough where it's like, okay, we're in the car. Yes, believe it or not, on the road trip days, they get, on the 10 to 12 hour drive days, they get one movie the entire day.
Or like today, we made a drink. We didn't polish off a bottle.
Yeah, there is
some balance.
But we could.
You definitely could, and you can definitely give a kid an iPad the entire day.
You could.
Probably shouldn't.
No, and
No.
but if you completely, like, it's kind of like the being a teenager in our day. It's like, don't have sex, don't have sex, don't have sex, don't have sex, don't have sex. What is that teenager gonna want to do? You
Exactly
tell them
what they're telling you not
to do, and it's like
it's in their own nature to rebel.
and it's
Part of being a teenager.
and so it's like the same thing with a kid. But I will say, I will take it in a more educational side where it's right now, everything is done with a touchscreen. Everything
Adam's
is done.
He's a father to be in February,
Okay,
right?
so
Coming up.
Yeah, and everything. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And everything is computers. If you take the computer away from your kid, they're gonna be behind. So you have to like restrict them, not fully take it away, not fully give it to them. You just have to.
Yeah, or it's like when they reach the age where their friends start to have cell phones and they're getting picked on for not having a cell phone. Is it better for them to be sort of picked on, or do you give them the cell phone?
Yeah.
And when's the timing?
Well, and we're part of a generation now that thankfully there's like heavy restrictions that you can give a cell phone to like a 10-year-old, but they don't have access to anything except for texting or calling you or a handful of people.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cost an arm and a leg to do it. You can have something, I forget, there's a company that actually does it, that it's like $20 a month. And the phone is, you can buy it outright for $100
Super
because it's
simplified.
because they subsidize it because the at least in Ontario, like the government
Oh, I like that.
provides like some type of subsidy to them
Yeah.
to like, they put it as an educational, and it is, because it would be educational to be like, okay, you can still have this, you can have apps, but restricted.
It's sort of like the kids' Netflix.
Yeah,
yeah. Same concept.
same concept. And or back in our day, browsers that had passwords on certain things.
So you don't have a 5-year-old being like, "Ooh, 300 click." Like you probably don't want a 5-year-old watching that.
No,
But if they have a smartphone and it's unlimited, like they could just watch that.
Yeah,
They wanted to.
but yeah, so it's always interesting with that.
The huge thick topic there. We're coming on the 2.5 hour mark, believe it or not. Wow, your knowledge of watches is superior.
I nerd out,
Yeah,
like I said.
it's great. I feel like we could just keep going.
If we could do
Yeah. So when does your next watch come out?
So all the molds are being done right now. The sample will be to me in December. The dial and case should be by early January. I should have the prototype start featuring it end of January, early February. And my goal is end of April.
Okay.
I know it's a long way away. I said, but, well, selling something, that it takes time. And I want to do it right. I want to do it properly. I want to make sure that I don't rush it like I did, honestly. Like I rushed it with that where I'm like, I did it. I want to do it. And okay, well, no one's buying it because no one knows about it. And so, yeah, end of April, early May, I'm going to do a pre-order. And again, fortunate enough, I'm very transparent on break evens and people will ask like how much things cost. And I'm like, I'm okay with doing that. I'm not going to make a video explaining piece by piece. But if someone wants to ask me, I said, the reality is for my upcoming watch, I'm my wife and I are very numbers analytical people. So if I was going into it, I needed to know my break even, and the break even is 33 watches. And by knowing that, it almost like that's my goal. Not 100. Not would I love to sell all 100.
And I know you work a full-time job and your goal is to shift over, but that is kind of like the silver lining of still having a job is the pressure's not there.
It's not there.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, you know, it might be there in the future.
Yeah.
And
until then,
the days I don't worry about work are the days I am the most successful with my brainstorming for images, marketing,
full freedom of the mind.
Yeah, and now also that comes like my phone is full of designs and everything consistently, and
as I would expect.
And you know, and that's the other thing. It's like I should be using a computer, but I use a phone.
Do whatever your process is. It's you're doing your process for a reason because it's just that's how your brain works. Yeah. Before we go, do you have a name yet for it? Are you allowed to share?
Yeah.
Don't share it if you don't want to.
Based on the mystery dial, you can kind of guess. So it'll be the Canuck mystery.
Okay.
It'll
All right.
be the mystery one.
Okay.
I think is what it'll be because.
And do you have like an inspiration behind this one?
Yeah, it's the Seiko Marvel.
Okay.
Okay. Or yeah, mystery dial, mystery watches in general. I will say the hands that you see on those watches, it is similar because that has become more of a selling point for people who know me. I love vintage watches, but I also love like Back to the Future style neo vintage where it's like, oh, it's old, but not really old.
Yeah.
And like, imagine what it's going to be like in the future. It looks old with like the weirdest futuristic looking thing. And I like that's, for example, like this watch, I think is the epitome of it where it's like, oh yeah, it's spaceship, wild concept.
Or it's kind of like, have you seen the new Fantastic Four? It's like that.
Yes.
Exactly. I don't know what that term is called.
I think it is neo vintage. I think because if you look, like I like to call
it's
it,
what
like
they
Back
thought
to the Future-esque.
it would look like now. Yeah, back in the 60s.
Because they call like the Honda CB 650R, not CBR, the CB 650R is a neo vintage cafe bike. It looks like an old bike. It's not though, because it has a modern headlight.
Yeah.
Or like a new Harley. Oh, it looks like a Harley, but it's futuristic because it has the halo lights.
Yeah.
Like that's a
that
neo
concept
vintage.
also makes me think of like steampunk as well. Steampunk's kind of like
it's a little out there, but
a little out there, but same kind of idea of old but not old. Like
yeah, like it's the whole that whole market is
I would say that's more like industrial.
Yeah, that's more industrial.
Yeah.
Neo industrial. I don't know.
But
the like the Back to the Future is probably the best iteration of it where it's like, hey, look at this old watch, and then the only update they did was make a case look like a spaceship as an example, and it looks like an old watch.
Yeah.
Or they've or the other way around where it looks like an old case and they got a digital watch, right? Yeah, DeLorean. There you go, man. Yeah, the whole idea of that, and so that the watch that I'm releasing will look like something that looks vintage, but also not modern, more futuristic touch to
Very
it.
meta.
Yeah, where it makes sense.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. I like. Unfortunately, I don't make the kind of money to be spending like $800 on a watch. But I'm the first time. It's gonna be one of yours. That's once I can.
It.
Yeah. Sponsor the podcast. Yeah. Thanks so much for taking the time to come on, man, and like just coming up and introducing yourself and for making some fucking awesome watches.
Thanks, man.
Super cool. And for just taking a leap. A lot of people are just scared to do that. So
Yes, and I'm
kudos to you.
very fortunate that I have a supportive wife that allows me to do it, and has now seen what I've seen, what could potentially be, and it's one of those situations where people always are like, "Oh, well, are you like, do you feel on a high?" I said, "No, like the reality is like I feel humbled that people that are respecting the industry like my designs, but I also won't be disappointed if it doesn't work out." And I think that's the important part, where it's like I'm invested in it, I'm excited, I'm proud, but if something doesn't work out, I won't be devastated because I know I didn't come from an industrial design background or a product design background.
And you tried. Imagine you just never
And I
tried, and
tried.
you're like, I wonder.
Yeah,
I
I've
wonder if
tried
it
a
would've
lot,
worked.
and I've tried things, and I'll say one thing. So I did Vine and Dine Norfolk, if you remember. It
Yes,
was a
I
very
do.
short stretch,
Yeah.
and I did it for probably like 8 months. And the only reason why I stopped, because it got expensive, because I'm like, I got to go to these places. I got to buy alcohol specifically and food. It's not cheap. And at that point, I wasn't in a financial position to continue that. And you know, I was glad that I learned a lot. You know, I became even further in love with Norfolk because of that. And I think a lot of people, the reason why I created it originally is because friends in Hamilton, Toronto, when it came, look, nothing there. I said, actually, there's a lot of things here. And that's why I had made it originally. And then I saw people take off after. And I think Ride the Vine does a very good job. I think they have a whole business surrounding it, but I think it kind of has been amplified in the last like year or two, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, like I'm not going to compete with that. And I'm just glad that it's continued. But that was a leap as an example
Yeah.
that I played with and learned photography. Oh, I look back, thinking it's no longer there. I got rid of the
Yeah.
page because
It's never a waste of time, man. It's like you
No.
can transfer these skills that you've learned to something new. So,
yeah,
yeah.
buying a country property, needing to learn how to fix things myself.
Yeah.
Installing a well pump last month. Learning because I tinker with things now
Yeah.
over the last few years
Yeah.
that I didn't tinker with before.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up on that note, man. Anything else you want to say before we go?
No.
Okay. All right, man. Everybody go check out Canuck Timepieces. Go buy yourself something nice.
Watch
Local.
out for this guy. I'm so
Hey.
sorry.
Hey, watch pun.
Hey you, you're listening to Just Droop, Just Droop, Just Droop.